Chapter 1962. Qin Kursen. Yu Chongkong stared at her departing figure as he licked his lips. His evil eyes flashed with greed. This woman, he truly wanted to obtain her. Yu Chongkong saw the evil light in Yu Chongkong's eyes and coldly spoke, "You better not have any evil thoughts." "Why? Is the Qin clan's Heaven's Choice interested in her?" Yu Chongkong stared at Qin Dangtian and laughed. Qin Dangtian didn't reply. He only coldly stared at Yu Chongkong. He did have an indescribable feeling towards Qin Kursen. Her beauty was extremely rare. Even in the entire supreme ancient immortal realms, she could be considered a peak-level beauty. Let alone the fact that she was at the heavenly deity realm, and her cultivation base wasn't any weaker compared to him. Most probably, the number one beauty in the supreme ancient immortal realms who could stand shoulder to shoulder with her was the number one beauty in the 9 heavens. Facing such a woman, who wouldn't have any thoughts towards her? This was especially so since before Qin Dangtian entered this secret realm, he had experienced Goddess Nichang's betrayal and Qin Wentian's humiliation. Hence, how could his heart not be moved when there was such a beautiful woman in this quiet place? Naturally, he knew his purpose for coming here was still cultivation. In addition, although he had some thoughts in his heart, Qin Kursen, this goddess of this unworldly realm, had no interest in him at all. In fact, she wouldn't even glance at him. Her attitude was cold and aloof. Back then, the Heaven's Choice's fiancé actually hooked up with Qin Wentian. Now that you met your goddess here, no wonder Brother Qin's heart is moved. It's just that I have to remind Brother Qin that not long ago, he destroyed the Ziwei Divine Court and personally killed the Ziwei Star Sovereign. It's better for you to consider your own fate, as well as the fate of the Qin clan. Yu Chongkong laughed evilly. Qin Dongtian's expression froze as a terrifying light flashed in his eyes. Qin Wentian's personal strength has already reached such a level? He destroyed the Ziwei Divine Court and killed the Ziwei Star Sovereign. Although there were good fortune in this secret realm, he still felt a heavy pressure. Not only was he in the secret realm, one mustn't forget that Qin Wentian was the controller of the Heaven Vault. That place was known as the most suitable secret realm for cultivation. Yu Chongkong didn't bother about the absent-minded Qin Dangtian. His silhouette flashed as he flew forward. His previous life was guiding him forward. Although he didn't know what this place was, his previous life clearly knew where it was. This secret zone seemed to be very big. Moreover, other than the danger when entering the Hanging Sea, it was very safe in the secret zone. Other than the fact that the cultivators in the secret zone had very high levels of cultivation, there was nothing out of the ordinary. If it were not for the fact that those people had high levels of cultivation, Yi Futian would have thought that he had come to an ordinary town. Of course, it was a very big town. The sky ahead turned dark, like it was enveloped by terrifying dark clouds. It felt like a powerful storm would erupt at any moment. Occasionally, bolts of lightning would descend from the sky, adding a sense of desolation to the atmosphere. It was like doomsday. The scene was extremely terrifying. Yu Chongkong increased his speed as he continued moving forward. He came to the place where the heavens and the earth connected. In the world covered by dark clouds, there was a mausoleum with no end in sight. These mausoleums were of different heights and were in disorder. Occasionally, there would be terrifying beams of light radiating from them, but every time a bolt of lightning blasted down, the beams of light would be forced back. It was like the lightning bolts were used to suppress the mysterious energy within the mausoleum. "Is this the place you want to bring me to?" Yu Chongkong spoke. The face behind him appeared again, staring at the mausoleum ahead. That pair of huge eyes gleamed with a terrifying evil light as he spoke in agitation. "I didn't expect that we would come at such a coincidental time. Is this Heaven's will?" "What do you mean?" Yu Chongkong asked. "Go, let's enter." That gigantic face spoke. Yu Chongkong's eyes flashed. After that, his silhouette flickered as he entered the mausoleum. As he entered, he felt a mysterious energy circulating around his body. This feeling was extremely wondrous, and the deeper he went, the more intense this feeling became. "Is this the Tao?" Yu Chongkong's eyes gleamed with an evil light. As expected, this was a good place. At this moment, Yu Chongkong seemed to have sensed something. His footsteps abruptly halted as he stared into the distance. At an extremely far away place, there was a blurry figure quietly standing there. He casually stood there and it felt like he was the only one left in this entire world. This feeling was extremely intense, causing Yu Changkong's heart to tremble. This person was most definitely an extremely terrifying expert. I'm Yu Changkong. May I ask if Senior is the tomb keeper? Yu Changkong spoke from afar. Over there seemed to be rain falling, but the rain didn't wet the figure. The figure was clad in gray robes and his long hair casually draped over his shoulders. His face couldn't be seen clearly, but his body was exceptionally tall and straight. Also, just from the aura he exuded, one could tell that he was an extremely imposing character. That figure didn't bother with Yu Changkong. He continued standing there and stared at the dark clouds in the sky, as though he was contemplating something. After a long time, his silhouette flashed and directly vanished from his original location. In fact, no one could tell where he went. You are not allowed to move around in the mausoleum. If not, I will kill you. A cold voice drifted over from the heavens, echoing through the heavens. Yu Changkong frowned when he heard this, feeling somewhat unhappy. However, the face behind him spoke. This is the tomb keeper. Be more low profile. Before he recovered his strength, he had to endure. Right now, his only goal was to recover the cultivation base of his previous life. In fact, he wanted to be even stronger than before. In a mysterious place there were a few small houses. A beautiful middle-aged woman quietly sat there. Her features were extremely beautiful. If she was younger, she would surely be a beauty capable of toppling empires. At this moment a figure appeared. It was none other than the figure who appeared in the depths of the mausoleum earlier. His long hair casually draped over and his face was extremely angular. If one looked closely, they would discover that he was extraordinarily handsome. He was a middle-aged man and must have been a handsome young man when he was younger. Father, that person doesn't look like a good person. Why did you allow him to enter the divine mausoleum? At this moment a figure flew over. It was none other than Qin Kursen, that extremely beautiful young woman. This is the rule of the tomb keepers. I cannot break it. That person calmly spoke. Qin Kursen's beautiful eyes flashed, but she remained silent. She also knew the rules of the divine mausoleum. The tomb keepers were responsible for guarding the mausoleum, but as long as the intruders didn't destroy the divine mausoleum, the tomb keepers wouldn't interfere. This was a rule passed down by the previous tomb keepers. The divine mausoleum is about to change. I won't be able to guard it for much longer. At this moment, the gray-robed figure turned his gaze in the direction of the divine mausoleum. He spoke in a low voice. Kursen, didn't you always want to go out? Now, I'll allow you to leave and enter the secular world to cultivate. Father. Qin Kursen's beautiful eyes froze. Allowing her to enter the secular world? This divine mausoleum secret realm was isolated from the rest of the world. Are you really going to allow her to leave? The beautiful middle-aged woman walked up, looking at Qin Kursen with reluctance. Kursen's strength is already strong enough. She can leave now. Also, in the near future we will leave as well. The tomb keeper slowly spoke. The woman fell silent and glanced at her daughter. Qin Kursen's beautiful eyes glanced at her parents before she nodded. Okay, I will go out and take a look. Father, when do I leave? Now. The tomb keeper spoke, his words causing Qin Kursen's beautiful eyes to freeze again. She stared at her father, but she still nodded. She bowed to her parents. Father, mother, take care. After speaking, she directly turned and left, appearing so carefree. Kursen. The woman felt some reluctance as she called out softly. However, her daughter didn't hesitate and didn't turn her head back. After her figure vanished, the woman stared at her husband. Are you so at ease? The tomb keeper stretched out his hand and gently stroked the woman's long hair. His gaze turned incomparably gentle. Kursen is a powerful heavenly deity. If you are worried about her, in that case. The tomb keeper spoke as he stared into the horizons. His wife seemed to understand what he wanted to say. Her beautiful eyes were the same as well, staring into the horizons. Her beautiful eyes were filled with longing. The people in the small town outside the divine mausoleum all felt some reluctance when they learned that Qin Kursen was about to leave. They all sent her off. Qin Dangtian also learned of this news and sighed silently. However, his heart was even more resolute than before. During these years, his improvements were extremely great. Right now, he was at a critical juncture in his cultivation. After he reached the grand completion of his cultivation, he would leave this place. When he returned to the supreme ancient immortal realms, there would definitely be a day where they would meet again. The divine mausoleum secret realm lost a supreme beauty. However, in the outside world, another supreme beauty appeared. Also, her name would soon circulate through the supreme ancient immortal realms. Qin Wentian knew nothing about the divine mausoleum secret realm. He also didn't know that Yu Changkong, whom he wanted to kill, was here. He also didn't know that Qin Dangtian was here as well. If not, he would definitely head there personally. Right now, he who came to the universe region directly arrived at the center of the universe region, the true pure land of bliss. In this pure land of bliss, the Buddhist sect was the religion everyone believed in. Everyone in this pure land of bliss cultivated the Buddhist Tao. They believed in the Buddhist sect. In this place there was no hierarchy. It was like all lives were equal. However, the people of the world venerated the venerated reverence of the Buddhist sect. These venerated reverence were of virtue and prestige. Naturally, those with the highest attainments in the Buddhist Tao were all cultivating in the Western paradise of the Pure Land of Bliss. In fact, there were even Buddha lords there. Only venerated reverends and ancient Buddhas were qualified to enter the Western paradise. Other than these, only those with extremely high talent in the Buddhist Tao could enter the Western paradise through the recommendation of the Buddhist sect of the Pure Land of Bliss. If not, no one would be able to enter the Western paradise. Naturally, an existence like the Grim Reaper was an exception. Back then when he descended, darkness enveloped the Western world. The entire Pure Land of Bliss was enveloped by darkness, including the Western paradise. However, that was the Grim Reaper. How many existences like the Grim Reaper were there in the world? Hence, although Qin Wentian came here, he had no way to enter the Western paradise. Chapter 1963. Qin Wentian walked through the Pure Land of Bliss. Holy light flickered in and out of existence, enveloping the entire world. The power of the Buddhist sect was truly powerful. This Western world seemed transcendent, untainted by the mortal world. Also, Qin Wentian discovered a strange phenomenon. There seemed to be a formless energy in the Western world that was constantly moving towards a single direction. And that direction was none other than the Western paradise. Qin Wentian didn't directly head to the Western paradise. He wasn't confident enough to think that he would be able to barge into the Western paradise alone. Even the Grim Reaper didn't have such confidence to deal with the entire Buddhist sect. If not, he wouldn't have come here just to threaten them. To him now, although he was already strong enough, there was still quite a distance between him and the Grim Reaper. He had no choice but to come to the Western world. Little Yi has already died. Fan Lu and Xian Xian became zombies. He had to take revenge for them, but this could be delayed. Once he sent himself to death, who would take revenge for him? Who would save Fan Lu and Xian Xian? What about his family? But now, he had no choice but to come because Qin Xin's fate was also affected by the Karma Buddha. Her life might be in danger at any moment. He could only take the risk and come to the Western world. If he wanted to enter the Western paradise, there was only a single method. He had to get a recommendation from the eminent monks in the Pure Land of Bliss. In that case, should he directly display his strength? Did he need a recommendation? This path was clearly impossible. If he did that, he would instantly attract the attention of the eminent monks in the Western paradise. Other than this, there was only one other path. Juniors of the Buddhist sect with outstanding talent would have a chance to get a recommendation and enter the Western paradise to pursue the Tao. The Bodhi Temple was one of the Buddhist and Taoist sects in the Pure Land of Bliss. Their dharma was profound and was respected by the people of the Pure Land of Bliss. The people of the Bodhi Temple were all ascetic cultivators and were extremely diligent in their cultivation. There were many eminent monks who came from the Bodhi Temple. In fact, there were even some Buddha lords in the Western paradise who came from the Bodhi Temple. Because this temple was extremely famous. The abbot of the Bodhi Temple was extremely profound and kind. This was something everyone in the world knew, and he was respected by many. If it wasn't for the fact that the old monk's talent was slightly inferior, he would have long entered the Western paradise and become a heavenly deity of the Buddhist path. Today, a handsome young man appeared outside the Bodhi Temple. He was dressed in black and his long hair draped over his shoulders. His features were handsome and he exuded an extraordinary aura. He was at the world overlord realm. A monk walked out from outside the Bodhi temple. He looked at the newcomer and asked, "Why have you come?" Asked Buddha. See Abbot Bodhi. The person who came calmly spoke. His eyes were deep, like the resplendent constellations. This man was none other than Qin Wentian in disguise. Naturally, he didn't use his original appearance and he even sealed his cultivation base, causing him to look exactly the same as the world overlord. The abbot is busy all day long. There are countless people who come to ask for Buddha's advice. I'm afraid the abbot doesn't have time to meet with you, the monk said slowly. If he doesn't want to meet me, I will kill all those who come here to ask for Buddha's advice. The monk slowly spoke. Qin Wentian calmly spoke, his voice cold and filled with a powerful baleful aura. After the monk heard that, he pressed his palms together and began to chant. A moment later, the sound of Buddhic chants permeated the air, landing on Qin Wentian. This Buddhic chants didn't contain any offensive power. They were able to calm the hearts of those who heard them, wanting to dispel the baleful aura from Qin Wentian. Benefactor, what great resentment! This place is a sacred ground of the Buddhist path. Benefactor, please return. The monk spoke. I heard that the Bodhi abbot is a kind person and has the intention to deliver the masses from suffering. Could it be that you really want me to kill all those who come here to ask for Buddha's advice and refuse to meet me? Qin Wentian calmly spoke. Although his tone was threatening, he naturally wouldn't really do that. It was just that everyone in the world referred to the Bodhi abbot as a saint, doing good deeds and accumulating virtue. Hence, he wanted to see if the Bodhi abbot was truly kind or just pretending to be merciful. In the pure lands of the Buddhist path, if benefactor has committed the sin of killing, there will naturally be someone to deliver you from the afterlife. The monk calmly spoke. After I committed the sin of killing, the sin has already been born. When a person dies, the lamp is extinguished. Even if there is someone to deliver me from the afterlife, what's the point? Qin Wentian counterasked. Is the compassion of the Buddhist path only limited to this? The monk froze, staring at Qin Wentian as he lightly shook his head. However, at this moment, a voice rang out from within the ancient temple. Benefactor, please enter the temple. After the monk heard that, he pressed his palms together and closed his eyes. Qin Wentian stepped out, stepping into the ancient temple. This ancient temple didn't emit any light. It was simple and quiet. The ancient bronze bells were rusted and the stone pavilions were filled with the marks of time. Qin Wentian passed through the long corridor and came to an extremely simple room. There was no Buddha statue here, only a simple praying mat as well as a Buddhist lamp. On the praying mat, a monk sat there. His countenance was extremely aged, as though the oil lamp was about to run out. Benefactor, there's a baleful aura from you. That monk closed his eyes as he spoke. Qin Wentian smiled. Since abbot is willing to see me, the baleful aura naturally doesn't exist. The aura on his body gradually became calm. However, the Bodhi abbot shook his head. The baleful aura isn't in the form. It's on the inside and not on the outside. If there's resentment in the heart, it would naturally be born. Abbot's eyes are wise. Qin Wentian praised from the bottom of his heart. He sat opposite of the Bodhi abbot and casually spoke. I've always felt that my Buddhist arts are profound, yet I've never had the chance to see a true Buddha. Should I feel resentment? If your Buddhist arts are profound, you would be able to see the Buddha in your heart at any moment. The Bodhi abbot replied. If this is the case, why do all the Buddhist cultivators in the world want to enter the Western paradise? Qin Wentian asked. The Buddhist arts are boundless. The Western paradise has top-tier Buddhist arts. The Bodhi abbot spoke bluntly. Since this is the case, I wish to pursue top-tier Buddhist arts. Abbot, can you recommend me to enter the Western paradise? Qin Wentian asked. The Bodhi abbot shook his head. Benefactor, you didn't come here for the Buddhist arts. I'm pursuing a powerful Buddhist path. Why didn't I come here for the Buddhist arts? Qin Wentian asked again. The Buddhist arts aren't merely the power of the Buddhist path. Benefactor, you have no fate with the Buddha. The Bodhi abbot shook his head. Qin Wentian stared at the Bodhi abbot as he coldly laughed in his heart. Hypocrite. The Bodhi abbot lowered his head slightly as he chanted. Qin Wentian continued, for those great Buddhas of the Western paradise, other than their Buddhist path being powerful, what's the difference between them and ordinary people? Benefactor's words are too heavy. The Bodhi abbot spoke. Buddha says that all living things are equal. The Western paradise obtained the faith of the people of the world and unified the four immortal realms, receiving the worship of the people of the world. What do they have to rely on? Qin Wentian replied, they merely relied on powerful Buddhist techniques. The so-called Buddhist arts are too fake. If you don't have the support of the Buddhist path, you can go to the Western paradise and ask the Buddha Lord to give up his position to you. Let's see what your ending would be. Benefactor's words are too extreme. The Bodhi abbot shook his head. Extreme? Qin Wentian smiled. Since I came here to seek an audience with Abbot, I would like to seek guidance from you. Right now there are so many major events happening in the supreme ancient immortal realms. I'm sure Abbot is aware of this. The evil devil Yu Chongkong has wreaked havoc in the world. It's unknown how many people have died in his hands. I'm sure there are many Buddhists among them. Since the Western world pursues the path of kindness, why don't they act to punish him and send him to hell? The evil in the world is endless. There's no end to killing them. The 33 heavens are too vast. Buddha can only ensure that the Western world doesn't have such evil. Maybe one day, when all Buddhists in the world pursue the path of kindness, such evil would no longer exist. The Bodhi abbot spoke. What a good all Buddhists in the world. If everyone in the world cultivates the path of the Buddha, wouldn't the Buddha be able to do whatever he wants? Qin Wentian mocked. Benefactor, I understand your meaning. The Bodhi abbot spoke. Qin Wentian waved his hand, sealing this area. After that, he spoke. Yu Chongkong was transformed from an evil devil. It's one thing if the Western world doesn't want to eradicate him. However, even if they join forces with the evil devil, is this also the path of kindness? I don't understand Benefactor's meaning. The Bodhi abbot shook his head. The Karma Buddha of the Western paradise once entered the heaven vault. After that, a young girl went out to play and encountered Yu Chongkong. She was abducted and killed. After that, the parents of the young girl both fainted. The best friend of the young girl spent all his days in tears, unable to walk out from his karma. Abbot, what do you think of this matter? Qin Wentian stared at the Bodhi abbot as he coldly asked. The Bodhi abbot's body trembled. His eyes opened for the first time. Although he looked old, his eyes were filled with spirit. He stared at Qin Wentian before he closed his eyes again and chanted a Buddhist chant. Benefactor Qin came from afar. This poor monk has neglected my hospitality. I heard that the power of the Buddhist path can awaken one's wisdom. You are truly intelligent. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. Since you know my identity, do you feel fear in your heart? The Bodhi abbot shook his head. He understood Qin Wentian's meaning. Since Qin Wentian has revealed his identity, the Bodhi abbot would be in danger. Qin Wentian's eyes were terrifying, like a heavenly eye that could see through all illusions. He continued asking, Abbot, you haven't answered me yet. What do you think of this matter? I have no way to understand the actions of the Buddha Lord. The Bodhi abbot shook his head. Is that so? In that case, the Western world wants to seize the heaven vault, using threats and rewards to tempt me. Abbot, what do you think of this? Qin Wentian asked again. The Bodhi abbot didn't know how to reply. Abbot, do you know that the Western world wants to use the heaven vault to unify the immortal realms and dominate the supreme ancient immortal realms? Also, from what I know, this is the decree of the God King of the Western world. This is the Tao of the Buddhist path? A cold smile appeared on Qin Wentian's face. He really wanted to see how this esteemed monk would reply. Upon hearing the two words God King, the Bodhi abbot's body trembled. He turned his gaze to the outside and spoke. The world is filled with endless conflicts. When has the supreme ancient immortal realms ever lacked blood? If the Buddhist path is unified, the world might be at peace, pursuing the great Tao while abandoning the minor Tao. What a good, pursuing the great Tao while abandoning the minor Tao. In that case, the people of my heaven vault can be sacrificed. Even if we join forces with the evil devils, there's no problem. Everything is for the sake of pursuing the great Tao, for the sake of peace. Qin Wentian laughed. What is great love? What is small love? You don't love a single person. Yet you still have the qualifications to say that you love the people of the world? How shameless. It's understandable for you to pursue hegemony, but you want to use the great Tao as an excuse to do good? How hypocritical. Is this the true face of the Buddhist path? If sacrificing the heaven vault is a minor Tao, then back then when ancient Azure mystic was destroyed, the people of the world lost their lives. Abbot, do you know that the Western world was the one in charge of that? The Bodhi abbot's heart trembled violently. A look of terror flashed in his eyes as his heart wavered. His Buddhist path was shaken as well. I won't waste my breath talking to hypocrites. Send me to the Western paradise. Qin Wentian stood up, exuding a tyrannical and imposing aura. Chapter 1964. The Bodhi abbot stared at Qin Wentian as he sighed in his heart. He pressed his palms together and bowed to Qin Wentian. Benefactor Qin, it's not impossible for me to send you to the Western paradise. I'm sure I have no choice but to agree. However, has Benefactor Qin ever thought about this? Even if you control me, I won't be able to tell that the Western paradise is no ordinary place. Benefactor Qin, why must you do this, not caring about your own safety? Qin Wentian turned his gaze to the Bodhi abbot. The Bodhi abbot's eyes were clear, like he was truly concerned about his safety. Even with his fiery eyes that could see through all illusions, he couldn't tell that this was an act. It was like the Bodhi abbot truly cared about him from the bottom of his heart. However, there were too many methods of the Buddhist sect. Qin Wentian himself had no way to ascertain if this was real or fake. However, he couldn't take the risk. Since his identity was exposed, he had to control the Bodhi abbot. The daughter of my good friend is under the control of the Karma Buddha. I have no choice but to head to the Western paradise. If Bodhi abbot truly cares about my safety, I hope you can cooperate and send me to the Western paradise. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. Excellent. The Bodhi abbot pressed his palms together. Benefactor Qin is willing to take such a risk for the sake of the people around you. From this, one can tell that you are a kind person. Even if you control the heaven vault, you wouldn't harm the supreme ancient immortal realms. Maybe our Buddha sect is wrong. Benefactor Qin, how do you want this old monk to cooperate? Just tell me. The Bodhi abbot spoke. Let me enter the Karma Buddha's tutelage. Qin Wentian's eyes gleamed with sharpness. The Karma Buddha is the Buddha Lord of the Western paradise. Although this old monk has some face in the Western paradise, I still have no way to do this. I can only do my best. The Bodhi abbot spoke. Qin Wentian stared at the Bodhi abbot in bewilderment. He didn't expect the Bodhi abbot to be so cooperative. Also, his eyes truly showed no signs of falsehood. In that case, many thanks, Reverend. If I offended you in any way, please forgive me. Qin Wentian spoke. For the sake of his safety, he still had to control the Bodhi abbot. However, the Bodhi abbot merely smiled. His aged eyes were now incomparably bright. At this moment he seemed to have become much younger. Can this old monk make a request of Benefactor Qin? Abbot Subhuti asked. Master, please go ahead. Qin Wentian nodded. If Benefactor Qin achieves the Tao in the future, I hope that you will not resent the Buddhist Tao. The Buddhist Tao is good by nature, but the human heart is unpredictable. It is not the fault of the Buddhist Tao. The Bodhi abbot spoke. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. The Bodhi abbot's words were not wrong. Tao techniques and energy were all sinless. Good and evil were all in the hearts of the people. I will consider Master's words. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. The Bodhi abbot nodded. He sat cross-legged on a praying mat, and gradually resplendent Buddhic light shone from his body. The Buddhic lamp beside him also began to burn. There was also a Buddhic lamp on the Bodhi abbot's body that burned unceasingly. His body gradually became illusory. Qin Wentian frowned slightly and his expression changed. He asked, What do you mean, Master? It's naturally to help Benefactor Qin enter the Western paradise. The Bodhi abbot calmly spoke. His figure grew more and more illusory, actually transforming into the light of the Buddha Tao. It was as though he no longer had a body of flesh and blood. Reverend. Qin Wentian's gaze froze. After that, the Buddhic light unceasingly flowed into Qin Wentian, causing Qin Wentian's body to be dyed with the Buddhic light as well, exuding a sense of holiness. After that, A string of Bodhi beads appeared at the location where the Bodhi abbot disappeared. It floated up and hung around Qin Wenqian's neck as a voice rang out in Qin Wenqian's mind. Benefactor Qin, you have some misunderstandings about the Buddha Tao. I hope this old monk's actions will be able to dispel your misunderstandings. As the sound of the voice faded, the Buddhic light from Qin Wenqian grew brighter and brighter. A formless energy gushed forth, breaking apart the seal in the room. The light from Qin Wenqian grew even more resplendent. At this moment in this ancient temple, the gazes of countless people turned to the room. They only saw golden Buddhic light radiating from it, as though the shadow of the Bodhi abbot was dissipating bit by bit. In an instant, countless Buddhic chants rang out. Everyone in the temple pressed their palms together and chanted as they bowed to the room. The Bodhi abbot has passed away. A voice rang out. However, it was so calm, there was no sorrow, no hatred, it was so calm. It was like to them, the death of the Bodhi abbot was also a kind of transcendence. The Buddhic chants enveloped the entire Bodhi temple, causing the atmosphere of this temple to be even more solemn. Many monks walked over, moving towards the small room. When they arrived outside the small room, they saw Qin Wenqian walking out. At this moment, Qin Wenqian was in a daze. He inclined his head and stared at the air with a blank look in his eyes. The monks didn't ask Qin Wenqian why the Bodhi abbot had passed away. They only calmly stared at him. After that, one of them spoke, "Benefactor, you have a fate with Buddha. The Bodhi abbot sacrificed himself to help you achieve your goal. We will send you to the Western paradise for cultivation." When Qin Wenqian heard this, he didn't feel any joy at all. He was able to enter the Western paradise without any flaws. The Bodhi abbot sacrificed himself to help him achieve his goal. The risks he originally thought about were all gone. Also, being able to smoothly enter the Western paradise for cultivation should be a joyous matter. Wasn't this what he wanted? However, he wasn't happy at all. Everything that happened earlier caused his heart to be unable to calm down for a long time. The Buddhist Tao was innately good, it was just that the human heart was hard to fathom. He knew that the death of the Bodhi abbot was to atone for the sins of the Buddhist sect. At the same time, the death of the Bodhi abbot was also to dispel the hatred in his heart towards the Buddhist sect. The Bodhi abbot of this ancient temple was the one truly worthy of respect. Sadly, he wasn't the lord of the Western paradise. Who could judge the good and evil in the world? In human nature there were both good and evil. Cultivating in the mortal world, one would chase after fame and gain. Evil would naturally be magnified. But in this world there were still people with great kindness. Qin Wenqian turned and bowed to the room. After a total of 3 times, he inclined his head and spoke, "Junior will engrave reverence words in my heart." The Bodhi abbot sacrificed himself to resolve the misunderstanding in his heart. From now onwards, Qin Wenqian no longer misunderstood the Buddhist Tao. However, those hypocritical Buddhist cultivators were even more despicable. These people should be expelled from the Buddhist sect and exterminated. Only by doing so would the Buddhist sect be the true Buddhist sect. Several days later, a group of ascetic monks walked through the pure land of bliss and arrived outside the Western paradise. In the Western paradise, holy light shone resplendently and the atmosphere was incomparably serene. There were monks who came to welcome them. When they saw Qin Wenqian, they all bowed to Qin Wenqian and the others. The monks from the Bodhi temple pressed their palms together and bowed. After that, they turned and departed, not saying anything. They only sent Qin Wenqian to the Western paradise. A monk turned his gaze to Qin Wenqian. He then spoke, "We've already heard of the matter regarding the Bodhi abbot. The abbot sacrificed himself to pursue the Tao and granted Benefactor your wish. I believe Benefactor is destined to have fate with the Buddhist sect. After you enter the Western paradise, there will surely be a holy Buddha who will teach Benefactor your Dharma." Qin Wenqian nodded. Holy Buddha was a title given to heavenly deities of the Buddhist Tao in the Western paradise. After that, Qin Wenqian followed behind the monk and entered the holy ground of the Buddhist sect in the Western world, the Western paradise. Golden light illuminated the ancient path of the Buddhist sect. Auspicious clouds could be seen circulating in the sky, and one could even see phoenixes and peacocks flying by. This place was like an otherworldly paradise. Standing here, one would be able to sense a sense of peace and serenity. The name of the holy ground of the Buddhist sect wasn't just for show. However, even though it was such a peaceful place, it was still unable to surpass the human heart. Qin Wentian was brought to a simple courtyard for cultivation. He didn't release his divine sense to probe the Western paradise. He knew that the experts in the Western paradise were as common as the clouds. If he used his divine sense to probe the Western paradise, he would instantly be exposed. What he wanted to do now was to wait quietly. After several days passed, he was brought to a Buddhist hall where he listened to the teachings of the Holy Buddha. He was acquainted with the person who was imparting the Tao. It was the 7 abstinences of the Buddhist sect. Right now, 7 abstinences Dharma was extremely profound and could no longer be compared to him in the past. After the lecture, 7 abstinences gaze turned to Qin Wentian. He glanced at the Buddha beads around his neck and spoke, "The Bodhi abbot has been imparting the Tao for many years in this ancient temple. He is a person of great kindness and is revered by the people of the world. Now that he has passed his legacy to you, I'm sure you have fate with the Buddhist sect. I heard that you wanted to enter the Western paradise. Since you are here, are you willing to join our Buddhist sect? The Bodhi abbot sacrificed himself for me, but I don't know if I truly have fate with the Buddhist sect or not. I'm willing to continue listening to the Buddha chants in the Western paradise before I make my decision. I don't dare to come to a conclusion so easily," Qin Wentian replied. 7 abstinences nodded lightly, neither arrogant nor rash. There are many holy Buddhas in the Western paradise. Which one do you want to join to listen to the Buddha Tao? I wanted to enter the Western paradise to seek the Buddhist sect, yet I ended up causing the Reverend to pass away. There must be karma involved in this. Hence, I wish to enter the Karma Buddhist sect and seek the Tao of Karma. Qin Wentian spoke. 7 abstinences eyes flashed. The Karma Buddha is the Buddha Lord. But since the Bodhi abbot is willing to sacrifice himself for you, I will pass the message on your behalf. As for whether the Buddha Lord is willing to accept you or not, that isn't something I can decide. Many thanks to the Holy Buddha. Qin Wentian pressed his palms together. After Qin Wentian returned, he waited patiently until someone came to pass the message that the Karma Buddha agreed to meet with him. This caused Qin Wentian's heart to tremble slightly. Everything seemed to be going smoothly, but he understood that if it wasn't for the Bodhi abbot, things wouldn't be like this. Today, Qin Wentian finally met the Karma Buddha. This was the second time Qin Wentian met him. The first time was when the Karma Buddha brought a group of monks into the Qin Heavenly Divine sect. However, at that time no one knew that he was a Buddha Lord. They only knew that he was a heavenly deity. After that, he planted a seed of karma on little Yi, causing everything that happened after that. Upon seeing the Karma Buddha again, Qin Wentian suppressed his anger, making himself appear calm. The Karma Buddha looked as ordinary as ever, no different from many heavenly deities. He didn't exude any aura, nor did he exude a strong sense of might. However, the people around him were all extremely respectful. Their gazes when they stared at him contained respect from the bottom of their hearts. This was because he was the Buddha Lord. I heard that you wish to enter my tutelage and cultivate karma? The Karma Buddha calmly spoke. Yes. Qin Wentian nodded. Do you know what karma is? The Karma Buddha asked. Qin Wentian shook his head. What was karma? The power of the Buddhist sect was originally unfathomable. As for the cycle of karma, how could it be explained clearly? Chapter 1965. The Karma Buddha stared at Qin Wentian. Karma. Since the moment I planted the seed of karma around you, our fates were already fated to be connected. There's no way to sever them. Do you understand? Don't understand? Qin Wentian shook his head. The Karma Buddha smiled. Once the Karma Tao is planted, there would be a mysterious force that would connect everything together. Even if the person who planted the seed died, the people around him would still receive the karma and continue the inheritance. Not long ago, I once went to the Qin Heavenly Divine sect to plant the seed of karma on a young girl. But in truth, she wasn't my true target. The karma I want is to allow another person to enter the Tao. Has he entered the Tao? Qin Wentian asked. Naturally. The Karma Buddha nodded. How can the Tao of karma be severed so easily? Hence, karma has already determined that he would come to the Western paradise and appear before me. I still don't understand. Qin Wentian's expression was calm. This isn't your Tao. You don't need to understand. The Karma Buddha shook his head. You only need to know that right now, you are indeed standing before me. This is enough. This is karma. Qin Wentian's expression was as calm as ever. He stared at the Karma Buddha, only to see his expression changing, returning to his original appearance. A handsome face appeared. It was none other than Qin Wentian. The Karma Buddha was also very calm. The two of them simply stared at each other. Both of them seemed so natural and didn't feel surprised at all. In the past, I once severed the Buddha image in the void. I should have severed karma. Why do you still know that it's me? Qin Wentian asked. In truth, he could be sure that before he came here, the Karma Buddha didn't know who he was. The Karma Buddha only recognized him after they met. Back then, after the Buddha image was shattered, the Karma Buddha was no longer able to see through him. I've already said it. This is karma. The Karma Buddha calmly replied. I didn't expect you to have such methods, silently appearing before me. You even hid your cultivation base. I couldn't see through you. But you still managed to see through me. Qin Wentian laughed. I have a question. Was the Bodhi abbot forced by you or did he choose it himself? The Karma Buddha asked. Abbot Subhuti is a true Buddha. Qin Wentian held the Bodhi Buddha on his neck. Thinking of the monk in his twilight years, he felt a little guilty. Understood. The Karma Buddha stared at Qin Wentian. Benefactor Qin actually barged into the Western paradise alone. I'm impressed. Since you've already sown karma, this karma will naturally have to be severed. Qin Wentian replied. Although he was discovered, he didn't panic at all and maintained his composure. Such calmness caused even the Karma Buddha to reveal a look of admiration. As expected of the most outstanding young man in the supreme ancient immortal realms. Apart from the way of karma, Master, do you also cultivate other Buddhist Taoist techniques? Qin Wentian asked. Benefactor Qin, do you want to discuss the Tao? The Karma Buddha pressed his palms together. Although the Tao of karma is powerful, I don't know if it can be used in combat. Qin Wentian spoke. His eyes turned extremely terrifying, as though they were revolving. His deep eyes seemed to contain space-time within. The Buddha cultivators beside the Karma Buddha all had solemn expressions on their faces. Intense Buddhic light radiated from them, enveloping Qin Wentian. A formless energy swept through the air. Time seemed to have stopped. At this moment, in the Western paradise, countless Buddhist cultivators could feel the power of the Tao. Their gazes turned to a certain direction as many of them flashed, preparing to head over. But at this moment, a surge of Tao might descended. A group of figures who were moving through the air halted just like that. Their bodies froze completely still. On the ground, there were some Buddhist cultivators who just lifted a foot off the ground. After that, they maintained this posture, unable to move at all. The power of the Tao enveloped this vast area, radiating towards the Western paradise. A supremely powerful Tao art manifested, wanting to cause the space-time of the Western paradise to completely stop. However, a moment later, the bodies of some of the Buddhist cultivators moved. Those who could move were all incomparably powerful ancient Buddhas. One of the great Buddhas was enveloped in boundless Buddhic light. He stared at this space and spat out a single word, dispel. As the sound of his voice faded, the power of stopping space-time was broken. Those frozen bodies began to move again. In the Western paradise, the gazes of everyone turned to the horizons. It was actually the place where Qin Wentian and the Karma Buddha were at. Clearly, they knew the source of the energy fluctuations. There was actually someone who invaded the Western paradise and unleashed a Tao art to stop space-time. It has been a very long time since someone dared to be so impudent in the Western paradise. But during these years it actually happened twice. This was simply unbelievable. First time it was the Grim Reaper. This time it was Qin Wentian. It was said that Qin Wentian was the Grim Reaper's successor. There were even people who said that Qin Wentian might be the Grim Reaper's disciple. What place did these two apostles take the Western paradise to be? Truly impudent. The holy land of the Western world, the place where the Buddhists led. Did they think they could come and go as they pleased? Resplendent Buddhic light enveloped the surroundings, shooting towards Qin Wentian. There were great Buddhas who opened their heavenly eyes. Their gazes could pierce through space-time and directly see the scene here. Benefactor Qin, good methods. At this moment the Karma Buddha praised. Qin Wentian's eyes were still staring at him. He didn't care about the changes in the surroundings. He also didn't care about the broken space-time Tao. This place was the Western paradise. What was impossible for anything to happen? Qin Wentian calmly spoke. It's time to sever this karma. As the sound of his voice faded, his eyes grew even more terrifying. Space-time turned chaotic as the stars shifted. This entire space seemed to be about to be sucked into his eyes. In the next instant, a chaotic space-time storm manifested. Qin Wentian and the Karma Buddha directly vanished into thin air. It was like they had never existed before. In an independent space-time, Qin Wentian and the Karma Buddha appeared together. There were only the two of them and terrifying space-time storms raged around them. This place was created by Qin Wentian. Benefactor Qin's methods are truly shocking. The Karma Buddha knew that he was brought to an independent space-time by Qin Wentian. Was this the reason why Qin Wentian dared to barge into the Western paradise? His talent was truly extremely shocking. Even the Karma Buddha was shocked. His comprehension of the Tao grew deeper and deeper each time. However, I still feel that Benefactor Qin's decision to come to the Western paradise is extremely unwise. Even if this karma is destined. At the instant Reverend inscribed the Tao of Karma, Reverend's fate was already determined. Although the space-time here is chaotic, the flow of time here is constant, 100 times faster than the outside world. In other words, even if 2 hours passed in here, only the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn would pass in the outside world. And the time it takes for an incense stick to burn in here would only be an instant in the outside world. Qin Wentian spoke. The change in the flow of time meant that he had sufficient time to resolve this karma here. This was also the reason why he came to the Western world. Since he wanted to deal with the Karma Buddha, he naturally had to be prepared to expose himself in advance. Wanting to silently finish off a Buddha Lord in the Western paradise? Was this possible? In truth, if it wasn't for Qin being in danger, he would continue to endure and take revenge in the future. But he couldn't wait any longer. Since he came here, he naturally thought of all possible scenarios. If he wanted to sever karma, he could only let the Karma Buddha come into contact with this Tao or kill him. Hence, Qin Wentian acted. Resplendent world-purifying light radiated forth, and just as it was about to land on the Karma Buddha's body, a dazzling golden Buddhic light radiated from the Karma Buddha. He was the Buddha Lord of the Western paradise, Qin Wentian. Was it possible for Qin Wentian to kill him so easily? A supremely powerful Buddhic light enveloped his body, impenetrable by the myriad of arts. Even the powerful world-purifying Tao had no way to break through his defense. However, Qin Wentian's actions didn't stop. He didn't have much time left. Although he changed the flow of time, he still had to finish off his opponent in an extremely short amount of time. For those great Buddhas in the outside world, he had no idea what unfathomable methods they had. After all, there was nothing impossible for the Buddhic Tao to do. The Karma Buddha pressed his palms together. A Buddha lamp lit up around him. This Buddha lamp was extremely bright, illuminating the entire space. After that, the shadow of the Buddha lamp shone onto Qin Wentian. This scene was extremely similar to how he dealt with Xiaoya back then. Clearly, he wanted to plant a seed of karma on Qin Wentian. Chapter 1966. Qin Wentian. The Buddha lamp shone on Qin Wentian. The Karma Buddha suddenly shouted. Qin Wentian inclined his head. At this instant, the Buddha lamp enveloped him, seeping into his body. This power didn't contain any destructive power, and wouldn't injure Qin Wentian. However, he knew that this was the karma power of the Karma Buddha. Such a Tao could create karma and was extremely troublesome. Qin Wentian waved his hand. A moment later, a sword formed from world-purifying light appeared in his hand. Boundless might from the Taos of heaven and earth gushed towards the sword. As Qin Wentian stabbed out with his finger, the sword pierced through the air. Good. The Karma Buddha pressed his palms together. Resplendent Buddhic light radiated from him as he had a solemn expression. He was like the most sacred ancient Buddha in the world. Qin Wentian's body also shone with a dazzling Buddhic light, invading his consciousness and affecting his heart. At this moment it was like he saw the Bodhi abbot. There was no more hatred in the Bodhi abbot, only kindness. The Bodhi abbot before him was a true Buddha. By right, he shouldn't have acted against him. Could it be that he had already forgotten the death of the Bodhi abbot? With an intention of his will, the energy in the sword gradually dissipated. At the instant the sword descended before the Karma Buddha, it transformed into beams of light and vanished without a trace. Even for Qin Wentian himself, he had a look of shock on his face when he saw this scene. He actually felt an intense sense of kindness, wanting to forgive the Bodhi abbot. How could this be possible? Benefactor Qin's heart is originally kind. Why must you pick up the butcher's knife? Why don't you put down your heart of slaughter and become a Buddha? The Buddhist arts of the Western paradise are boundless. Since you want to cultivate karma, I can teach you that as well. The Karma Buddha's voice seemed to contain a mystical power, affecting Qin Wentian's heart. It caused his heart to become calm, no longer violent, no longer filled with intense hatred. It was like he wanted to accept everything and forgive the Karma Buddha for his actions. Is this the power of karma? Qin Wentian mumbled. His state of heart and his thoughts were actually affected. Kindness, forgiveness. However, what about the Karma Buddha? Is he kind? With a single thought, he caused the death of little Yi. Fan Lu and Xian Exine were still living dead even now. Qin Exine was affected by karma, unable to sleep at night and could only cry all day. Was this the kindness of the Buddhist sect? The Karma Buddha pressed his palms together. Buddhic light continuously shone on Qin Wentian, affecting him, causing Qin Wentian's heart to be in a dilemma. The power of the Buddhist Tao was mysterious and unfathomable. In order to cultivate the Tao of karma, one must first cultivate the 8 senses of the Buddhist Dharma. One must be able to control the eyes, ears, nose, and even the consciousness of others. Only then would one be able to form karma. The Karma Buddha planted the karma force on Qin Wentian, causing Qin Wentian's 8 senses to be invaded and influenced by the Karma Buddha. The result the Karma Buddha wanted was for Qin Wentian to not be able to kill him. He didn't want to kill Qin Wentian because he knew that as long as Qin Wentian couldn't kill him, many things were destined. This was a cause and effect in itself. Back then when little Yi wanted to go out to play, Fan Lu and Xian Exine were in a coma, causing their hearts to die and Qin Exine to cry all day long. All of these were because of the influence of karma, controlling the 8 senses of the Karma Buddha. The world-purifying light gushed forth frenziedly from his body as boundless radiance illuminated the world. Qin Wentian wanted to erase the karma force from his body, but the Karma Buddha's Buddhic lamp was extremely bright, illuminating the entire world, causing numerous Buddha statues to appear in the surroundings. Each of the Buddha statues shone with resplendent Buddhic light. A Buddha lamp appeared in the hands of the Buddha statues, shining its light onto Qin Wentian, causing the karma force to circulate continuously, landing on Qin Wentian's body. There was no way to erase it. Subhuti used his body to seek the Tao. In order to change Benefactor Qin, I want you to let go of the obsession in your heart. Since Benefactor Qin is fated with my Buddha, why don't you put down the sword in your hand? The Karma Buddha's voice rang out once more. The killing intent in Qin Wentian's heart grew weaker and weaker. In fact, he was thinking if everything he did during these years was truly wrong. He controlled the heaven vault alone, becoming enemies with the supreme ancient immortal realms. If he was willing to let go and sincerely accept the people of the supreme ancient immortal realms, would the people of the supreme ancient immortal realms also treat him sincerely? The people of the supreme ancient immortal realms cultivated together in the heaven vault and grew up together? Out of the 8 senses of the Buddhic Tao, the first 5 senses were the sensory organs. The eyes, ears, nose, the last 3 senses were the more terrifying ones. Consciousness was merely the 6th sense. The 7th sense could control consciousness and the 8th sense could even influence one's outlook on life and the world. For example, good and evil, it could change one into a Buddha or a devil with a single thought. The Karma Buddha was a Buddha Lord character. How powerful was his Tao of karma? His control over the 8 senses was extremely terrifying. He could truly affect Qin Wentian deeply, even causing him to doubt himself. This was something that had never happened before. This was how terrifying the power of the Buddhist path was. Although it didn't seem to have any destructive power, it was much more terrifying than an attack with destructive power. It could control the thoughts of others, influencing their worldview, causing them to do good or evil. Qin Wentian had many methods but he had no way to use them. He had no chance to do so. Should I let go? Qin Wentian asked himself. If he let go of everything, would the people of the supreme ancient immortal realms be able to coexist peacefully in the heaven vault? What did those people do to seize the heaven vault? The Buddhist path did good deeds. What did the Karma Buddha do? He himself did evil, yet he taught others to do good deeds. Could it be that after he gained control over the power of good and evil, he could no longer differentiate between good and evil? Could this be considered a devil? Buddha and devil, a single thought. If a Buddha is good, I will be a Buddha. If a Buddha is evil, I will become a devil and send all Buddhas from the afterlife. Qin Wentian's hands drooped downwards. The Buddhic light around him dissipated and was replaced by a supremely powerful devil might. In an instant, a pitch-black aura engulfed the entire space. The Karma Buddha stared at Qin Wentian only to see that his body was about to be devoured by the darkness, completely falling into the devil Tao. A terrifying devil might erupted forth, wanting to devour karma. All the Buddhist energy was about to be devoured. The Buddhic light around him vanished completely, leaving only the devil behind. Buddha and devil were two forces that mutually reinforced and countered each other. They couldn't coexist like fire and water. At this moment, Qin Wentian wanted to transform into a devil and send all Buddhas from the afterlife. His heart turned cold as cold killing intent filled it. Qin Wentian no longer had a heart of benevolence, abandoning the so-called good thoughts. What was good, what was evil? To achieve his goals, the Karma Buddha killed his loved ones, and he could easily control the lives of others. In fact, he could even make people do good deeds or evil deeds. If he didn't die, that would be the greatest evil. The Buddhic light around him, the power he possessed, were merely the surface of evil. Devil eyes. Qin Wentian spoke. In an instant, the pure and holy Buddhic light in the air seemed to be corroded. All energy was about to be devilized. The golden Buddhas in the air gradually turned into darkness, as they were tainted by the devilish light. Gradually, the Buddhas turned into devils as their Buddhic energy was being devoured by the devilish energy. Benefactor Qin, if you cultivate the devil Tao, you will go to hell. The Karma Buddha spoke, as though he was cursing Qin Wentian. If you cultivate the Buddha Tao, what's the difference between you and the devil? Since hell really exists, you don't have the qualifications to enter. Qin Wentian coldly spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, a terrifying hell appeared before him. Countless demons and devils swarmed towards Qin Wentian, wanting to devour him. Qin Wentian's eyes were incomparably black, exuding a terrifying devilish light as he stared at the Karma Buddha. In other words, the Karma Buddha Lord's attainments in the Tao of Karma could be said to have reached the peak of perfection. Little Tao. Qin Wentian coldly spoke. He directly stepped into hell as devil might towered up into the sky. Even the demons and devils in hell had to retreat before him. Qin Wentian punched out, penetrating through everything, shattering the hell and causing the demons and devils to die. Before absolute power, everything was nothing but an illusion. Qin Wentian stretched out his hand. In an instant, the boundless energy of heaven and earth seemed to be under his control. Time and space were thrown into chaos as the devil dominated heaven and earth. Before Qin Wentian, a devil saber appeared. It was as though Qin Wentian's Tao was infused into this saber. He held the saber in his hand, and at this instant time and space seemed to have stopped. In this world, only that saber remained. The Karma Buddha stared at Qin Wentian with a cold countenance. Under the corrosion of the devil energy, his Buddha Dharma was greatly weakened. The power of karma couldn't affect Qin Wentian, and the 8 senses of the Buddha Tao couldn't control Qin Wentian's will. Right now, he had turned into a devil and sealed his 8 senses. Right now, he only had the desire to kill Qin Wentian. Time and space seemed to have stopped. In this chaotic space, the terrifying energy was all about to stop. The eyes of the Karma Buddha stared at the heavens and earth. He could faintly sense his ending, and this caused him to feel uneasy. Only by changing the cause would he be able to control the ending. The Karma Buddha closed his eyes as the Buddha lamp on his body lit up. He then called out, Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian stared at Qin Wentian, not shifting his gaze away for even a moment. However, it was precisely because of this gaze that Qin Wentian's silhouette was imprinted within the Buddha lamp. Qin Wentian's devil body also lit up with that incomparably marvelous Buddha lamp. It was as though the Buddha lamp had planted a seed in Qin Wentian's soul, and there was no way to dispel it. The Karma Buddha chanted as the power of karma of the great Tao gushed forth unceasingly. The Buddha lamp in his body reflected Qin Wentian's body, and the Buddha lamp in Qin Wentian's body reflected the silhouette of the Karma Buddha. This scene was extremely marvelous, causing Qin Wentian to have an illusion that he and the Karma Buddha were connected by karma. If he killed the Karma Buddha, it would be akin to killing himself. Can you feel it? Our karma is connected, it is irreversible. The Karma Buddha's voice directly rang out in Qin Wentian's mind. It was like at this moment he was inside Qin Wentian's body. Their karma was connected, it was irreversible. Qin Wentian's expression was as cold as ever. His killing intent was extremely intense. The devil's saber controlled the saber in this space. In this frozen space-time, that saber seemed to control the fate of two deities. Everything depended on a single thought from Qin Wentian. And at this moment in the outside world, many great Buddhas have already arrived. Although Qin Wentian changed the flow of time in the chaotic space-time, time was still flowing in the outside world, although it was very short. An independent space-time. An ancient Buddha spoke. He knew that Qin Wentian brought the Karma Buddha into an independent space-time. How ruthless, killing his way into the Western paradise, wanting to kill the Buddha Lord of the Western paradise. This was simply madness. Chapter 1967. There was naturally no need to doubt Qin Wentian's strength. He once destroyed the Ziwei Divine Court and killed the Ziwei Star Sovereign, causing Yu Chongkong to flee in defeat. In the Western Paradise, the Buddha Lords were extremely powerful, comparable to the peak characters of the various hegemonic powers. But even so, they might not be able to win against Qin Wentian. The people of the Western Paradise had to admit that Qin Wentian had already reached that level, and was one of the most outstanding characters there. If not, how could he kill the Ziwei Star Sovereign? However, the Buddhas of the Western Paradise also believed in the strength of the Karma Buddha. It wouldn't be so easy for Qin Wentian to kill a Buddha Lord of their Western Paradise in this independent space-time. But even so, it was impossible for them to wait. At this moment, one of the Buddha Lords directly opened his Buddhic heavenly eye, seeing through all illusions. Even the independent space-time was revealed by his heavenly eye. Resplendent Buddhic light flashed as his heavenly eye pierced through the space-time, staring at the battlefield. He saw Qin Wentian and the Karma Buddha who were currently facing each other. He saw that in that independent space-time, everything seemed to have come to a standstill. A supremely powerful devil might dominated everything. The energy of the entire world gathered into the devil saber in front of Qin Wentian. The world was silent. The Karma Buddha stood before him, radiating Buddhic light. The Buddhic lamp shone resplendently, landing on Qin Wentian, connecting them with karma. This scene was extremely shocking. It made him faintly feel that the victor of the battle was about to be decided. The two of them seemed to be engaging in an ultimate battle. How is it? The Buddhas around him turned to the Heavenly Eye Buddha Lord. This brat has gone mad. The Heavenly Eye Buddha Lord coldly spoke. His heavenly eye shot out a corporeal light, wanting to open up an ancient Buddhist path to that independent space-time. The Buddhas frowned. Was Qin Wentian really so powerful? However, regardless of whether he was strong or weak, since he came to the Western Paradise, his fate was already determined. There has never been anyone who dared to be so impudent before. The Grim Reaper was an exception, but since Qin Wentian came here, it was impossible for him to allow the Grim Reaper to leave the Western Paradise safely. The Karma Buddha determined karma. Regardless of the outcome of this battle, Qin Wentian's karma was determined. In the chaotic space-time, that terrifying devil might was still present. Time and space seemed to have fallen into a state of absolute stillness. The two of them didn't move. Behind Qin Wentian, an astral soul appeared. This astral soul was also a brand new astral soul. This astral soul could absorb all energy, allowing boundless Tao arts to fuse into it, allowing it to control everything. The devil's saber in front of him contained a destructive might. Even the Karma Buddha felt his heart trembling when he sensed that power. Are you qualified to go to hell after you die? Qin Wentian asked. The Karma Buddha pressed his palms together. Buddha light enveloped his body as he said, "If Benefactor Qin can do it, I can too. You and I share the same karma. No matter how strong the power of karma is, it is still a Tao. In this world, There is no Tao that cannot be broken. Qin Wentian's eyes were incomparably black. His hand that was holding onto the devil's saber was extremely stable. A supreme might erupted forth from the devil's saber. His eyes were filled with madness, enveloped by the devil intent. Try it. The Karma Buddha wasn't affected by Qin Wentian. He was still as calm as ever. Fine. A towering devil might erupted forth, distorting space-time. He lifted the devil's saber up as boundless Tao arts in the world fused into it, causing time and space to fall into a state of absolute stillness. The Karma Buddha inclined his head and stared at Qin Wentian. Did he really dare to slash down with his saber? A beam of black saber light arced through the sky, cleaving apart the void. This saber was like a bolt of lightning, instantly descending from the still space-time. This saber slash was so decisive and ruthless, with no hint of hesitation at all. Fresh blood gushed forth. One of the Karma Buddha's arms was forcibly severed. Even the Karma Buddha was bleeding. At the instant the saber slashed into his opponent's body, Qin Wentian also felt a terrifying pain from his left arm. After that, his arm powerlessly slumped to the ground, as though it was broken. Slaying me means slaying you. Karma is connected. The Karma Buddha stared at Qin Wentian. Even though one of his arms was severed, he didn't show any signs of pain or fear. There was only calmness. Karma was connected. Who could slay him? Slaying him was the same as slaying Qin Wentian himself. Who would be willing to slay themselves? His Tao was destined to be undying. Poochie! Black lightning arced through the sky as another saber slashed down. Without any hesitation, one of the Karma Buddha's legs was severed as fresh blood flowed freely. His lips twitched as his countenance changed. He only saw a towering devil might radiating from Qin Wentian. It was as though pain was nothing to him. The feeling of death, I've already experienced it many years ago. I wonder if you've experienced it before. If you haven't, today, you shall experience what true hell is truly like. As the sound of Qin Wentian's voice faded, another saber slash slashed out. After that, the Karma Buddha's body was sliced into pieces, becoming incomplete. His countenance finally changed, revealing a look of terror as he stared at Qin Wentian in disbelief. At this moment, Qin Wentian himself was enveloped by the devil might, but he was sure that he wasn't feeling good. The pain Qin Wentian was feeling was the same as him. Qin Wentian's eyes turned pitch black as he stared at the Karma Buddha. So even Buddhas have fear. Seems like even Buddhas don't want to go to hell. After saying that, the demonic saber remained in place. When he thought of Lil Ye's death, his eyes were filled with boundless madness. The saber light was like black lightning, unceasingly cleaving through this space. The Karma Buddha's fleshly body was destroyed, but the shadow of his soul remained. That shadow's countenance contorted as he stared at Qin Wentian, who had also lost his fleshly body. Have you gone mad? The so-called Taoism is based on the strength of people. Since I can't destroy your Taoism by cutting your body, then I'll cut your soul. Qin Wentian's soul seemed to condense into a physical body, and the knife slashed out. Arg! A scream of misery rang out. The pain of his soul being torn apart caused the Karma Buddha to truly feel fear. His eyes flashed with true terror, the terror of death. The Buddha lamp that enveloped Qin Wentian's soul also grew dimmer and dimmer. As Qin Wentian said, the Tao was controlled by human beings after all. Stop! The Karma Buddha roared in rage. Qin Wentian didn't stop. He coldly spoke, "You will definitely die before me. This is the price you have to pay for your sins. You are proficient in karma, but have you ever thought of your final karma?" As the screams of agony rang out unceasingly, the Buddhic light radiating from Qin Wentian grew dimmer and dimmer until it was completely extinguished. Qin Wentian's soul also became extremely weak, to the point where it was hard for him to control that powerful devil saber. As for the Karma Buddha, he was only left with a remnant soul that could be destroyed at any moment. "You devil!" The Karma Buddha roared in rage. The shadow no longer had the calmness of the past. Instead, it was distorted. The saber radiated a devilish intent, as though it was about to slash out the final saber strike. A beam of light from the heavenly eye shot into this space. After that, a cold voice rang out, "Qin Wentian, you have gone mad. Stop." Have I gone mad? Stop? Qin Wentian was incomparably cold. He was indeed crazy, but he wouldn't stop. The Western world would pay a price for their actions. Since Buddhas weren't merciful, he would purge all the Buddhas from the afterlife, telling them that when Buddhas pick up their butcher's knife to kill others, they would suffer an even more terrifying retribution. Go to hell. Qin Wentian's saber slashed down, slashing down on the final remnant soul of the Karma Buddha. The Buddha lamp was completely extinguished as the Karma Buddha's figure vanished. He died under the endless pain and agony. Most probably, the Karma Buddha was filled with unwillingness. He was the Buddha Lord of the Western paradise. He controlled the Tao of karma and could easily control others. But today, someone actually barged into the Western paradise and killed him. How ridiculous was this? When he saw Qin Wentian, he didn't panic at all. From his point of view, Qin Wentian was simply courting death. He was the Buddha Lord of the Western paradise, but his ending was so tragic. The Karma Buddha was slain, but Qin Wentian didn't have it easy either. He was bound by the Tao of karma, and slaying the Karma Buddha was akin to harming himself. The him right now had almost lost half of his life. The devil's saber dissipated. He sat down cross-legged and circulated the undying scripture. The powerful undying energy was healing his soul. After that, his body was reborn bit by bit. He had an undying soul and an undying body. As long as his soul wasn't completely destroyed, he would be able to live. The Karma Buddha wanted to die together with his enemy. It wasn't so simple. As long as there was a chance of survival, he naturally wanted to live. Chapter 1968. In a courtyard in the Heaven Vault, Ouyang Guangxing and Jiang Ting were accompanying their daughter, Qin Xin. Right now, Qin Xin grew increasingly sensitive. Her body was extremely frail and frail. It felt as though her energy was about to be completely exhausted. Ouyang Guangxing and Jiang Ting were extremely worried for her. If this continued on, Qin Xin would really be in trouble. But at this moment, Qin Xin suddenly had a strange feeling. She wiped away her tears and raised her head. Her beautiful eyes looked at her parents and said, "Father, Mother." "Katomi." Jiang Ting walked over. "I think I've recovered," Katomi said softly. "Although I'm still a little sad. It's not like before when I couldn't control my emotions. Now that I think about it, it's like my emotions are being controlled by someone else." The eyes of Ouyang Guangxing and Jiang Ting flickered as they exchanged glances. "Are we really fine now?" "Yeah." Katomi nodded. "Who?" A strange light flickered in Ouyang Guangxing's eyes as he stared into the distance. "Your Uncle Qin might be doing something dangerous that we don't know of. Will Uncle Qin be all right?" Jiang Ting asked worriedly. "I don't know, let's go see your Uncle Fanlu." Ouyang Guangxing spoke. The few of them flew in a certain direction, heading towards the place where Qin Wentian resided. When they arrived, they discovered that Fanlu and Xian Xian had already awoken. Not only that, Mo Qingqing and the others were present as well. "Fanlu." Ouyang Guangxing stepped forward, placing both his hands on Fan Li's shoulders. "I've made everyone worry." Fanlu spoke in a light voice. Although he had awoken, it wasn't so easy for him to walk away from the pain of his daughter's death. Wentian might have gone to the Western world. "Qingqing, can you ask him how he is now?" Ouyang Guangxing glanced at Mo Qingqing as he asked. Mo Qingqing's beautiful eyes flashed with worry as she shook her head. "I can't contact him." Everyone's hearts tightened, and they had a bad premonition. In the Western world, there were as many experts as there were clouds. It was a terrifying existence that unified the Western world. Qin Wentian killed his way into the Western world alone? Wentian. Fan Li's expression froze. Was it because of him? Uncle Qin. Katomi's eyes were a little moist, filled with worry. Uncle Qin, nothing must happen to him. Very swiftly, everyone in the Heaven Vault knew that Qin Wentian had gone to the Western world. After Junmengchen and the others learned of this, they wanted to head there to look for Qin Wentian. However, they had no way to exit. Only Qin Wentian could open the exit of the Heaven Vault. Everyone could only feel anxious. They had no way to exit the Heaven Vault. What they could do was only to cultivate, allowing themselves to grow stronger. They didn't want Qin Wentian to be the one to bear the burden every time they encountered such a situation. Qin Wentian carried them on his shoulders. The fate of everyone in the Heaven Vault was now on his shoulders. Right now, for the sake of his loved ones in the Heaven Vault, He decided to go out and take the risk alone. In the Western world, in an independent space-time, Qin Wentian's soul was recovering bit by bit. His physical body also gradually recovered to its original state. It was just that he was still a little weak. After all, he had just experienced a terrifying battle. Although he slew the Karma Buddha for revenge, he wasn't in a good state either. He was heavily injured, and if it wasn't for his heaven-defying undying energy, he would most probably be dead by now. Naturally, given his current cultivation realm, his recovery speed was also extremely terrifying. This was especially so when he still had undying energy and life energy. In fact, he could even regenerate his bloodlines. How was the power of bloodlines born? When one's cultivation base was strong enough, they would be able to nurture their bloodlines. Heavenly deities could nurture divine blood and pass it on to their descendants. And now, he himself was a powerful heavenly deity. His bloodline was a powerful divine bloodline. How could he lose it? Right now, he was no longer an immortal. He was now a deity. Bloodlines were also a type of ability. They could transform into the Tao, infusing it into the Tao and using it to comprehend the Tao. In fact, the current him could already reconstruct his own bloodline, using the Tao to change his own bloodline and pass it on. The prerequisite was that he felt that the reconstructed bloodline was stronger than his original bloodline. However, Qin Wentian temporarily didn't have such thoughts. After everything calmed down, when he wanted children, he would reconstruct his own divine bloodline and pass it on to his descendants. Naturally, this was all for the future. Right now, he was still in a state of crisis. Although the flow of time was 100 times faster, the ancient Buddhas of the Western world outside were definitely not ordinary heavenly deities. When he was still fighting against the Karma Buddha, he already sensed a heavenly eye piercing through space and discovered this space-time. Most probably, it wouldn't be long before they found a path to enter this independent space-time. However, Qin Wentian was wrong. At this moment, after those ancient Buddhas of the Western world learned that the Karma Buddha was killed, they no longer had any thoughts of entering this independent space-time. At this moment outside, many ancient Buddhas gathered together. They were chanting Buddhist chants, as though they were ferrying the Karma Buddha from the afterlife. The death of a Buddha Lord was also a huge loss to the powerful Western paradise. Senior brother cultivates karma and knows how to form karma. He planted the seed of karma and brought Qin Wentian to the Western paradise. However, he didn't expect that he would die here. The voice of the heavenly eye ancient Buddha sighed. However, these monks didn't seem sad at all. It was like they were very indifferent to life and death. Naturally, maybe it was because this was the life and death of someone else. Before this, the Karma Buddha also appeared very calm, as though life and death wouldn't be able to shake his heart. But at the moment of true death, how terrifying was his expression. If one's Buddha heart wasn't pure, how could one see through life and death? Only a reverend like the Bodhi abbot would be able to remain unperturbed in the face of death. Such a Buddha was a true Buddha, disregarding life and death. If I don't enter hell, who would? He would rather die, resolving the hatred in Qin Wentian's heart towards the Buddha. Only then could he be considered a true Buddha with absolute benevolence. Martial Uncle Master formed karma and brought Qin Wentian to the Western paradise. Now that he has passed away, we mustn't let him down. Another reverend spoke. He was also a heavenly deity, but he referred to the Karma Buddha as Martial Uncle Master. From this, one could see that the Karma Buddha's status in the Western paradise was extremely high. That's only natural. Let's suppress him. A powerful ancient Buddha nodded. After that, the other Buddhas all agreed. They stood in different locations and chanted Buddhic hymns. In an instant, a supreme Buddha light manifested in the air. In the Western paradise, resplendent Buddhic light seemed to be born, flowing towards the same direction. Gradually, the Buddhic light transformed into a terrifying giant palm imprint that was like a 5-fingered mountain, capable of suppressing the heavens. These Buddhas wouldn't take Qin Wentian's life, they would suppress him instead, because their target was the heaven vault. Qin Wentian was the controller of the heaven vault. He mustn't die. That giant palm imprint seemed to contain the power of Buddhas. At the center of the palm, countless Buddha characters and Buddha statues could be seen, exuding an incomparable might. The palm imprint then flew towards a direction, searching for an independent space-time. At this instant, Even for Qin Wentian, who was in an independent space-time, he could hear a supreme Buddhist hymn ringing in his ears. He only felt his eardrums buzzing, and the sound of the Buddhist hymn caused his heart to be in chaos. He inclined his head and stared at the sky. His gaze could see through everything. After that, he saw the giant palm imprint transforming into a 5-fingered mountain that pressed down from the sky. This entire space-time trembled, and after that, a thunderous boom rang out as time and space was suppressed. Also, that terrifying Buddhist hymn seemed to be eternal, unceasingly destroying this space-time. After a long time, this space-time shattered. Qin Wentian's figure appeared there. He saw that he was under the palm, and there was a 5-fingered seal before him. There was no way out. Boundless Buddhic light cascaded downwards, landing on him. Countless Buddha characters continued to press down on him, causing him to endure an incomparably great pressure. The boundless Buddhist hymn continued to enter his ears, wanting to destroy his will. A towering aura radiated from him as a terrifying space-time sword intent tore through the sky, shattering the Buddhic hymn. At the same time, he blasted towards the giant palm. However, there were many Buddha statues there, suppressing everything. Qin Wentian's attack had no way to break through this giant palm imprint. The Buddhas joined forces to suppress it. If Qin Wentian wanted to leave, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Qin Wentian's expression was unsightly to behold. He tried all sorts of methods, but he had no way to break out of this giant palm. He knew that he was being suppressed and that boundless energy would continue to attack him, wanting to break him apart. Benefactor Qin. At this moment, a voice rang out in his ears. It was actually the Buddha outside speaking. Qin Wentian inclined his head. His eyes were cold. He only heard the Buddha speaking. The Buddha, Lord of my Western paradise, passed away, dying in the hands of Benefactor Qin. However, this is also karma. Buddha is merciful. If Benefactor Qin opens the heaven vault and my Buddhist sect joins, we will naturally grant Benefactor Qin your freedom. Upon hearing this, a cold smile appeared on Qin Wentian's face. Open the heaven vault? After that, the fate of his family would be controlled by the Western paradise? Even if the Western paradise fulfilled their promise and granted him freedom, how could the various hegemonic powers of the supreme ancient immortal realms not guard against him? Would they spare his family? In addition, the Karma Buddha planted a seed of karma on little Yi, using the life of a young girl to deal with him. The Buddhas of the Western paradise, in Qin Wentian's eyes, were no different from devils. Mercy? Kindness? How ridiculous was this? Buddha is merciful. How could he do such a despicable thing? Right now, they still wanted Qin Wentian to believe them? Was it possible? Bald donkey, if you can't kill me, all of you will die. Qin Wentian coldly spoke. Benefactor Qin, why must you be so stubborn? Since this is the case, we can only let Benefactor Qin suffer. The voice rang out once more. Within the terrifying Buddha palm, Qin Wentian endured the attacks unceasingly. It felt like it would never stop. The news of what happened in the Western paradise circulated through the supreme ancient immortal realms. For a period of time, huge waves of commotion arose. Qin Wentian actually went crazy and killed his way into the Western paradise, killing the Buddha Lord, the Karma Buddha. Right now, he was suppressed by the Western paradise. Most probably, his fate was already determined. Was this battle for the heaven vault finally going to end? Chapter 1969. After the peak powers of the supreme ancient immortal realms learned of the news from the Western world, many of them silently heaved a sigh of relief. For example, the Qin clan. Qin Wentian's existence was an extremely great threat to them. They were very clear that Qin Wentian might slaughter his way to the Qin clan at any moment. This was especially so when the Qin clan learned that Qin Wentian destroyed the Ziwei Divine Court and killed the Ziwei Star Sovereign. They were all filled with trepidation. The entire Qin clan was enveloped by a heavy atmosphere. Although Qin Wentian was powerful, the Ziwei Star Sovereign wasn't much weaker compared to him. Given Qin Wentian's growth speed, there would definitely be a day when he could kill him alone. If that day came, it would be the doomsday of the Qin clan. Before this, they had placed all their hopes on him. He went to the secret realm discovered by the Qin clan's ancestor, and successfully barged into it. Up until now, there was still no news of him. But now, Qin Wentian was finally suppressed by the Western world. Everything should be over now. Qin Wentian killed the Buddha Lord of the Western Paradise. In that case, even if the Grim Reaper wanted him, it was impossible for the Western Paradise to hand Qin Wentian over so easily. If the Western Paradise was truly afraid of the Grim Reaper, they wouldn't have acted against Qin Wentian in the first place. The experts of the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms all understood that this matter concerned who would be the hegemon of the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms in the future. If the Grim Reaper and Qin Wentian could buy enough time, they might grow to become the #1 hegemon of the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms, suppressing the Western world. The people of the Qingkuan sect and Nine Heavens mystical palace all sighed when they heard this news. What a pity! Such a supreme character. How many years has it been since someone appeared in the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms? He barged into the Western Paradise alone and killed the Buddha Lord. With such boldness, there was no one else in the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms who could surpass him. Sadly, he lost to time. The Western world didn't want him to continue growing. The people in the Heaven Vault also received the news. Although they were in the Heaven Vault, they weren't isolated from the outside world. There were still people from the Qin Heavenly Divine sect guarding outside, maintaining a connection with the Heaven Vault. When they learned of this, Fan Lu and Ouyang Feng wanted nothing more than to replace Qin Wentian. They knew that Qin Wentian killed his way into the Western world because of Little Yi and Qin Xin. He killed the Karma Buddha, taking revenge for Little Yi Qin Xin, allowing Qin Xin's condition to improve, saving Fan Lu and rescuing Xian Exen. After Qin Xin learned of this, she cried for a long time. How hateful! She basically couldn't even leave the Heaven Vault. Everyone was afraid that something would happen to Emo Qingcheng and Qing Er. But this time around, Emo Qingcheng and Qing Er's expressions were strangely calm. It was like they had long expected such a day would come. In addition, they had also experienced it before. In fact, they were even more miserable than this. What was the point of being sad again? This was especially so for Qing Er. After she received the news, the woman who was once known as the white-haired killing goddess silently turned and left. After that, she went to cultivate. Her calmness was so terrifying that it was terrifying. Cultivating to this day and experiencing so many things, maybe her temperament had long changed. Many people were thinking that maybe her sorrow and worry were no longer something that could be expressed with words or tears. Only by transforming it into motivation for her cultivation, they firmly believed that the Evergreen Kingdom couldn't kill Qin Wentian back then. This time around, Qin Wentian wouldn't die, he would wait for them to grow. In the Western world, in the Western Paradise, Qin Wentian was suppressed and had to endure the Buddha Dao attacks all day long. In addition, the attacks from the giant palm that was suppressing him seemed to be able to be controlled in the external world. When the Buddhas joined forces to chant Buddhic chants, their attacks would be stronger. But if they stopped, their attacks would be weaker. Qin Wentian could rely on his own defense to resist the attacks. After Qin Wentian was trapped for a period of time, he sensed an ancient Buddha descending from the outside world. After that, he heard a voice drifting into his ears, "Benefactor Qin, have you thought things through during these days?" What he wanted to ask was naturally the matter regarding the Heaven Vault. The Western Paradise wanted Qin Wentian to hand over the control rights of the Heaven Vault. Qin Wentian didn't bother to reply. In the space where the palm imprint was located, his eyes were tightly closed. An independent space seemed to have opened up around him. Even though he was suppressed here, he didn't forget to cultivate. He had experienced so many trials and tribulations before. No matter what, he would never give up easily. It was the same this time around. As long as there was a chance, he would cultivate and grow stronger to deal with the changes in the future. Ultimately, this is something that cannot be avoided. Benefactor Qin, why must you be so stubborn? The Buddhic voice rang out once more. After that, the Buddhic voice seemed to intensify the energy within the palm imprint. In an instant, Buddhic light flashed as terrifying attacks once again shot towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian was as unmoving as a mountain. A terrifying spatial storm manifested around him, engulfing all the attacks within. No matter how the palm imprint attacked, he remained unmoving. At this moment, the gigantic palm imprint grew more and more terrifying. An illusory golden palm imprint pressed down, crushing the spatial storm and pressing down on Qin Wentian. This caused him to feel as though he was carrying the weight of the heavens on his back, wanting to bend his back. The Buddhic voice rang out unceasingly. The Buddhic words were boundless. Qin Wentian sat there with his back straight, indomitable. Terrifying rumbling sounds rang out as a huge force slammed into Qin Wentian, causing him to tremble violently. However, he still sat there unmoving. It was like the attacks didn't land on his body. After a long time, blood flowed from the corner of Qin Wentian's mouth. However, his eyes were as cold and resolute as ever. Finally, the Buddhic voice faded away. That powerful pressure vanished without a trace. After that, another voice rang out, "Benefactor Qin, the news of you being in the Western Paradise has already circulated. Right now, many experts from the major powers of the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms have already headed to the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect. At that time, the situation would surely be hard to control." Qin Wentian's eyes flashed, gleaming with a terrifying coldness. He icily spoke, "You claim to be benevolent and benevolent. Is this how you threaten me?" Although he had arranged for his friends and family to enter the Heaven Vault before he left, there were still many experts guarding the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect outside. Although he didn't have any close friends or family, there were still some experts from the various factions. Qin Wentian clearly didn't wish for anything to happen to them. It's precisely because of the benevolence of the Buddhist sect that we hope that Benefactor Qin can allow the Buddhist sect to control the Heaven Vault. In that case, the hegemonic powers of the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms naturally wouldn't dare to interfere in the matters of the Heaven Vault. Our Buddhist sect will naturally resolve the matters there. We won't allow the people of the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms to kill for no reason. An ancient Buddha voice rang out, filled with compassion for the state of the universe. Buddha is benevolent. Qin Wentian spoke in a clear voice. When he spoke, his voice was extremely cold. First, the Buddhist sect used powerful methods to injure him. After that, they used people who had nothing to do with the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect to threaten him. Were the Buddhas of the Western Paradise all trash? How hateful was it that a true Buddha like the Bodhisattva couldn't even enter the Western Paradise? How lamentable was this? Help me tell the hegemonic powers of the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms that if I don't die and they dare to touch a single person from the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect, I will annihilate their entire sect. Qin Wentian coldly spoke, his tone filled with an intense killing intent. It was absolutely impossible for him to hand over the Heaven Vault. Even if he died, it was impossible. Although he didn't wish for anything to happen to the people of the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect, there was no need to say anything more about what the people in the Heaven Vault meant to him. If the Heaven Vault was opened, not only would the lives of the people of the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect be in the hands of the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect, even his friends and family would be controlled. At that time, he would no longer have any value and would be captured in one fell swoop. Qin Wentian wasn't so foolish. Since this is the case, the next time we come to visit Benefactor Qin, we will bring news from the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect to you as well. Let's hope that Benefactor Qin can think things through clearly the next time we come here. A voice rang out from outside. After that, those ancient Buddhas left. Qin Wentian was suppressed here, but they weren't in a hurry. Qin Wentian mustn't be killed. Leaving aside the fact that they wouldn't be able to obtain the Heaven Vault even if they killed Qin Wentian, just the Grim Reaper alone. Although the Western Paradise wasn't afraid of the Grim Reaper, it would be best if they didn't have to shed all pretense of cordiality. Now wasn't the right time yet. As long as Qin Wentian was suppressed here, the Heaven Vault would be controlled by the Buddhist sect sooner or later. There was no need to doubt this point. Just like how the Buddhist cultivators of the Western Paradise threatened Qin Wentian. After the news of Qin Wentian being suppressed by the Western Paradise circulated out, many powers started to feel restless. After that, the Western Paradise spread the news that Qin Wentian wasn't willing to hand over the Heaven Vault. Hence, the various powers understood tacitly and gathered in the Boundless Sea region, staring at the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect from afar. In the Boundless Sea region, the Divine Sect stood tall, exuding a majestic aura. There were experts guarding outside the Divine Sect. Even though the sect leader of the Divine Sect, Qin Wentian, was suppressed in the Western Paradise, the Divine Sect wasn't in chaos. At this moment, a group of figures appeared in the airspace above the sea region. A few groups of people walked out of the Divine Sect, exuding terrifying might like divinities. The person in the lead was indeed a heavenly deity. "Seniors, please halt." The guards of the Divine Sect stretched out their hands, blocking them from advancing. Impudent! A thunderous roar rang out. A muscular middle-aged man in blue robes roared in anger. In an instant that guard felt like he was struck by lightning. His entire person directly plummeted down from the sky as a thunderous boom rang out. His body turned numb and the expressions of the guards beside him turned ashen. This is the territory of the divine sect. No one is allowed to barge in. Senior, please halt. Below, that falling figure wiped away the traces of blood at the corner of his lips. He soared up into the air once more, standing before the other party. Even though the other party was a heavenly deity, he had no fear at all. Do you know who the person you are blocking is? The blue-robed middle-aged man coldly spoke. I know, a heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan of the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms, that person calmly replied. But this place is the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect. This is the rule set by the sect leader. If Senior wants to enter, you have to step over my corpse. You have guts. That heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan coldly spoke. Since this is the case, I will step over your corpse. As the sound of his voice faded, he stabbed out with a finger. Thunder and lightning filled the sky and instantly, that guard was pierced through by the lightning and exploded, his soul dissipating. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. The heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan coldly spoke as he continued forward. They originally came here with ill intentions today, yet these fools actually dared to block their path. They were simply courting death. However, at this moment, another guard appeared, blocking their path. Although there was a trace of fear in his eyes, there was even more fearless courage. He was someone from ancient Azure Mystic, and after that, he joined the Heaven Empyrean Palace and became a member of this place. He had always been following the Heaven Empyrean, and the Heaven Empyrean was a supreme existence in their hearts. Although he was suppressed now, no one was allowed to blaspheme him. Without the Heaven Empyrean's order, no one was allowed to enter the divine sect, unless they had to step over their corpses. The experts in the air frowned. There were truly people who weren't afraid of death. At this moment, within the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect, groups of experts soared into the air, forming a row and blocking the entrance of the divine sect. Their eyes stared ahead, as though they weren't afraid of death. Since they would die sooner or later, why not die with some backbone? The sect leader would definitely take revenge for them. Chapter 1970. Naturally, not everyone was someone with backbone. When Qin Wentian was suppressed by the Western Paradise, many people in the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect already wavered. When they saw the experts from the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms descending, they started to think about how to flee for their lives. There was no need for them to die here. The heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan stared at the experts before him as a cold smile flashed in his eyes. Their courage was worthy of praise. However, was this action any different from courting death? Since this is the case, this seat will grant you all your wishes. The heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan still stood arrogantly in the air. Lightning flashed around him as heavenly might descended, wanting to destroy the entire Qin Heavenly Divine Sect. With a thunderous boom, the violet lightning dragon in the sky shot downwards, slamming into a great hall of the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect. The great hall that was so tall that it pierced through the clouds directly exploded, emitting an intense rumbling sound as it collapsed downwards. The scene was extremely terrifying. Qin Heavenly Divine Sect. Lightning snakes shot out from the eyes of that heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan. Back then, how imposing was Qin Wentian? He suppressed all the experts in the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms, becoming the sole controller of the Heaven Vault, and establishing the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect in the Boundless Sea region. Many powers came to congratulate him, but now, everything has ended. Qin Wentian was suppressed by the Western Paradise, and his fate was already determined. Stop! Just when that heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan wanted to act, a voice rang out. The heavenly deity turned his gaze over, and saw a few figures rushing over. These figures were all heavenly deities. The heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan stared at them and coldly spoke. When did the Tiandao Sacred Academy interfere in external affairs? From what I know, back then when all of you ganged up on Qin Wentian didn't take revenge at all, right? Now that he is in danger, all of you actually want to kick him when he is down, acting against someone with a lower cultivation base. Aren't you all a little too despicable? The people who came were none other than the 3 heavenly deities from the Tiandao Sacred Academy. They rushed here after receiving Shun Yin's request for help. Right now, Shun Yin was already a heavenly deity, the 4th heavenly deity of their Tiandao Sacred Academy. Right now, they didn't wish to see the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect in danger. This is between us. What does it have to do with your Tiandao Sacred Academy? At the side, another heavenly deity spoke. He was an expert from the Prison God clan. He came here because he received some hints from the Western world. Our Tiandao Sacred Academy will not stand idly by. Goddess Dugu coldly spoke, her words causing the heavenly deities who just arrived to frown. If the Tiandao Sacred Academy interfered, things would be troublesome. Although these 3 heavenly deities were easy to deal with, the headmaster of the Tiandao Sacred Academy was unfathomably powerful. Back then during the war against the Qin clan, the Thunder clan leader was suppressed by the headmaster of the Tiandao Sacred Academy, to the point where he couldn't even breathe. Many people knew that if the battle continued, the Thunder clan leader wouldn't be a match for the headmaster, and would be annihilated. The dean of Tiandao Sacred Academy was very powerful. What can we do even if we don't stand idly by? At this moment, a thunderous voice rang out in the air. The Thunder clan leader descended from the sky, exuding an incomparably imposing aura. Lightning revolved around him as he stared at the heavenly deities of the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Back then during the war against the Qin clan, it caused him to lose a lot of face. Although the headmaster of the Tiandao Sacred Academy was very powerful, this was something the Western Paradise wanted to do. Could it be that the headmaster of the Tiandao Sacred Academy really wanted to interfere? If that was the case, he would let the Western Paradise handle it. As for wanting to stop them from acting against the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect with just the appearance of 3 heavenly deities, how is that possible? As the Thunder Clan leader, you actually bullied juniors when others were in trouble. Do you still have any face? Goddess Dugu coldly spoke. Back then when Qin Wentian was around, why didn't you come here to settle this grudge? Impudent! The Thunder Clan leader roared, staring at Goddess Dugu. Are you even qualified to speak to me like this? How imposing! Goddess Dugu coldly laughed. Could it be that the Thunder Clan leader wants to act against me? You are just a female, I disdain to bully you. The Thunder Clan leader waved his hand and berated. After that, he stared at the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect and spoke, Enter. Kill those who obstruct us. Yes. The experts from the Thunder Clan nodded and stepped forward. The experts from the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect blocked their path, like a human wall. Their expressions were extremely cold. Although they felt fear in their hearts, their courage triumphed over their fear. When the Heaven Empyrean returns, it shall be the day your Thunder Clan repents. An expert from Azure Mystic coldly spoke. He firmly believed that this young man who created miracles would topple everything in the end. Although we will die, the sect leader will slaughter his way into the Thunder Clan and kill his way into these powers. It's worth it to exchange a life for a life. Another person spoke, staring at the experts before them. These despicable people would definitely regret their actions today one day. Courting death. A heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan grabbed out with his hand. An incomparably gigantic lightning palm imprint instantly tore apart the bodies of many people as screams of misery rang out. However, those who were still alive still formed a human wall blocking the way. Behind them, the experts from the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect stepped out, joining the human wall. Their eyes were filled with fearlessness. The experts from the Thunder Clan coldly laughed. What's the use of courting death? Today they would definitely take down the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect. After that, the Western Paradise would slowly torture Qin Wentian. They didn't believe that Qin Wentian wouldn't hand over the Heaven Vault. You guys are despicable. Deity Dugu stepped out. Even more terrifying bolts of lightning flashed in the sky. A destructive might condensed in the air above the sea region, causing the boundless sea region below to roar. It was as though a tsunami had erupted, and a heaven-shaking roar of rage could be heard, wanting to destroy everything. The heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan guided the divine lightning. But at this moment, he felt that the divine lightning wasn't being guided. He frowned. What was going on? He inclined his head and stared at the sky. In the next instant, his gaze froze as he stared there. Many people in this space seemed to have sensed something. They inclined their heads and stared at the sky. After that, they were the same as the heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan. Their expressions froze as they stared at the lightning in the sky. A strange expression appeared on their faces. In the lightning in the sky, a human figure actually appeared. Also, this was the figure of a female. What caused the hearts of everyone to tremble was that this female was so beautiful that it was breathtaking. She was clad in a light yellow dress and her long black hair fluttered in the wind. Her skin was fair and her face was flawless. It was like all the beautiful words in the world were insufficient to describe her beauty. There were people who saw Goddess Nikhang before, but the instant they saw her, they couldn't help but to admit that this female wasn't inferior to the number one beauty of the heaven region, Goddess Nikhang. Also, her cultivation base was even higher compared to Goddess Nikhang. She was a heavenly deity, a supreme beauty. If one wanted to find someone who could be compared to her, maybe the Nine Heavens mystical maiden who had the title of number one beauty in the Nine Heavens would be more suitable. Who is she? Many people silently mused. Such a shocking character, such beauty, such a cultivation base. She definitely shouldn't be a nameless character. Even many heavenly deities felt their hearts palpitating when they saw her. If they could become Tao companions with this woman, how wonderful would that be? This woman who appeared was none other than Qin Kursin, who was cultivating in the Divine Mausoleum secret realm. Hence, no one in the world knew who she was. This would be the first time she faced an expert from the supreme ancient immortal realms. "Miss, who are you?" that heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan asked. His tone was calm, but his eyes flashed with unmasked admiration. Such a woman was extremely pleasing to the eyes. Qin Kursin lowered her head and stared below. Her gaze landed on that heavenly deity from the Qin clan. Her beautiful eyes flashed with coldness, as well as a hint of anger. This caused that heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan to feel puzzled. How did he offend this beautiful heavenly deity? Scram! A cold voice rang out from Qin Kursin's mouth. She had no intentions of being polite, directly berating that heavenly deity, telling him to scram. The heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan frowned as a look of unhappiness flashed in his eyes. He then asked, "When has my Thunder Clan ever offended you? Are you deaf?" Qin Kursin coldly spoke, not bothering to be polite at all. This caused the expression of that heavenly deity from the Qin clan to grow even more unsightly. Although this heavenly deity who appeared was extremely beautiful, she still used such words to humiliate him. No matter what, he was still a heavenly deity. He didn't even care about her telling him to scram. Wasn't she saying that he was deaf? Wasn't she simply too arrogant? The others quietly watched, temporarily maintaining their stance. A beautiful female heavenly deity appeared, and there was actually no one who recognized her. Her identity caused everyone to feel suspicious. Also, why did she want to protect the Qin heavenly divine sect? "Aren't you a little too impudent? What if I don't leave?" The heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan coldly spoke. Qin Kursin's expression didn't fluctuate at all. She lowered her head and stared at him. In the next instant, a terrifying divine might manifested in the air, enveloping the entire space. That heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan furrowed his brows. This beautiful woman was actually so crazy. She directly initiated a deity-level battle just because of a single disagreement? What kind of contempt did they have for his existence? When he thought of this, the 9 heavenly lightning flashed, exuding an incomparably terrifying destructive might. That heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan soared up into the air, preparing for battle. "I don't wish to act against a woman, but since you are so arrogant, I can only fight you." The voice of the heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan shook the heavens and earth, akin to thunder. "Fight me." Qin Kursin stared below. Her beautiful eyes were filled with indifference. It was like she basically didn't have the heavenly deity in her eyes at all. "Are you even worthy?" Another voice rang out. Everyone was speechless when they heard this. What an arrogant woman. She actually said that the heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan wasn't worthy to fight against her. They have never seen such an arrogant female heavenly deity before. The figure in the air was definitely the first. However, at this moment, a terrifying scene appeared in the sky. Behind Qin Kursin, a gate appeared. This gate seemed to be a world of its own, containing boundless space within. One could see the scene inside. That was like a mausoleum, boundless and boundless, filled with the vicissitudes of life, exuding an extremely ancient aura. It was like the mausoleum of a deity. Chapter 1971. What power is this? Everyone inclined their heads, staring at the terrifying scene in the picture scroll as their hearts trembled. Even heavenly deities felt their hearts trembling. That mausoleum, was it the power of the Tao? However, what kind of Tao was related to the mausoleum? The eyes of some peak characters gleamed with sharpness. They stared at the mausoleum as they faintly thought of an ancient legend from the supreme ancient immortal realms. However, how could this be possible? Could it be that the legend was true? And this nameless heavenly deity before them, did she come from that place? The light from the divine mausoleum enveloped the entire world, landing on that heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan. In the next instant, his heart pounded violently. The him right now had arrived before the divine mausoleum. He wasn't outside the picture scroll but was inside instead. He was actually brought to the divine mausoleum. As for that woman, she appeared before him, standing in the airspace above the divine mausoleum. Above the sky, boundless destructive lightning bolts could be seen. This was his power. What power is this? The heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan inclined his head and stared at the woman. He only saw that her expression was as calm as ever, exuding a faint coldness. That cold arrogance in her eyes was just like her arrogant tone. She didn't place him, a heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan, in her eyes at all. Right now, within the divine mausoleum, a dazzling light suddenly radiated forth, shooting up into the sky. In an instant, the destructive lightning bolts were dispersed. This mysterious power caused the heart of that heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan to tremble again. Maybe this beautiful woman was truly so powerful that he had no way to contend against her. But even so, as a heavenly deity, there was no reason for him to fear battle. This was especially so before a woman. Lightning flashed on his body as his body grew incomparably huge, turning into a true thunder god. On his gigantic fist, purple lightning flashed with a dazzling radiance, faintly releasing a dazzling white light. After that, the fist blasted out towards the woman in front of him, penetrating through everything, wanting to destroy all the power in front of him. It was hard to imagine how terrifying the scene would be if this terrifying fist of the thunder god blasted out on a woman. Qin Kursin calmly stood there, allowing the terrifying thunder god fist to blast towards her. Beneath her feet, the divine mausoleum radiated a terrifying glow. At the instant the thunder god fist blasted over, a resplendent golden light radiated forth, transforming into a resplendent screen of light that blocked in front of her. The thunder god fist blasted into it, wanting to destroy it, but it felt like it was trapped in a boundless space, unable to extricate itself. Behind her, in the divine mausoleum, the numerous mausoleums seemed to be the burial grounds of deities. At this moment, numerous illusory figures appeared from the divine mausoleum. These illusory figures had no corporeal features and seemed to be born from the Tao. However, each and every one of them radiated an incomparably terrifying power. Their silhouettes flashed as they rushed towards the heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan. When the waves of Tao might bore down on him, the heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan paled. At this moment he understood that the lady in front of him was not someone he could defeat. The two of them were not on the same level. Although they were both heavenly gods, the gap between them was huge. "Sir, your realm is profound. I am ashamed of my inferiority." The heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan admitted defeat, no longer having any thoughts of continuing the battle. Although he didn't want to admit it, this was already the truth. He had no choice but to admit it. "You only know now?" Qin Kursin coldly spoke. Those illusory figures instantly acted, rushing towards the heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan. Was it enough just by admitting defeat? In that case, what if the heavenly deity was able to defeat her earlier? If admitting defeat was useful, what was the point of continuing the battle? In the airspace above the boundless sea region, miserable screams rang out. Everyone felt their hearts pounding when they saw the miserable state of the heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan. This woman was too violent, how powerful. "Enough!" The Thunder Clan leader roared in rage. A thunderous boom rang out in the air. Qin Kursin stopped her attacks on the heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan. However, that heavenly deity's appearance was already beyond recognition. His entire body was filled with injuries. It was too miserable. He was completely suppressed and abused. Qin Kursin's beautiful eyes turned cold as she stared at the Thunder Clan leader. Do you want to fight? When everyone heard her calm voice, all of them felt their hearts pounding. What a valiant female heavenly deity. However, she was also so beautiful, causing everyone to feel that they didn't dare to believe their own eyes. She stood in the air and casually spoke to the Thunder Clan leader. Do you want to fight? With such boldness, how many people in the entire supreme ancient immortal realms could you find? Who are you? The Thunder Clan leader didn't directly reply to Qin Kursin's challenge. His deep and tyrannical eyes seemed to contain a destructive might as he stared at Qin Kursin. You don't need to know. Qin Kursin coldly replied. From her tone, everyone could feel that she was filled with disdain for everyone, even if it was the Thunder Clan leader. The experts in the Boundless Sea region grew even more curious about her identity. What power could nurture such a character? There's a rumor that in a certain corner of the supreme ancient immortal realms, there's a forbidden ground named the Divine Mausoleum. The Thunder Clan leader spoke. What relationship do you have with this forbidden ground? Divine Mausoleum? To many people, this was the first time they heard of this name. Only those hegemonic powers and heavenly deities were qualified to know some secrets of the supreme ancient immortal realms. Also, the location of the Divine Mausoleum was a place that even hegemonic powers didn't know. If it wasn't for them seeing Qin Kursin's ability, they wouldn't have thought of that place either. It was too similar and too powerful. A mausoleum actually had an unfathomable ability. In addition to a character like Qin Kursin, no one knew who she was. She seemed to have appeared out of nowhere. It seemed that only the forbidden ground could explain this. You want to know? Qin Kursin coldly glanced at him. In that case, I'll tell you where I came from. What about it? The Thunder Clan leader's heart trembled. Did she really come from that forbidden ground? His gaze turned sharp. He wanted to know the location of the Divine Mausoleum from Qin Kursin's mouth. You have designs on the Divine Mausoleum? Qin Kursin seemed to have seen through his thoughts. She coldly laughed. I advise you to give up on such thoughts. You might not even be able to win against me. It's hard to say if you can even enter the Divine Mausoleum. Even if you can enter, you won't have any more chances. My father said that the Divine Mausoleum is going to change. The Divine Mausoleum is going to change? The eyes of the Thunder Clan leader flashed. Who is your father? Tombkeeper. Qin Kursin calmly replied. It's rumored that once one becomes a tombkeeper, they have to guard the Divine Mausoleum forever. If not, they would suffer divine punishment. The Thunder Clan leader mumbled. But he actually told you to come out. In that case, the Divine Mausoleum is going to change, it's true. Do you think I'm talking nonsense with you? Qin Kursin coldly spoke. In the past, her father was willing to guard the Divine Mausoleum forever in order to grow stronger. But this didn't mean that he didn't want to come out. She knew that her father had always wanted to enter the world. Now that the Divine Mausoleum was going to change, the opportunity was about to arrive. She knew of her identity. She already knew it when she was in the Divine Mausoleum. After she entered the world, she investigated the situation in the supreme ancient immortal realms and learned of many things. In that case, before her father entered the world, she would represent her father to do some things. Right now, her appearance here was precisely what she should do. Now can you all scram? Qin Kursin coldly spoke. She said so much there was only a single purpose. She wanted these people to leave. Since you just entered the world, why are you meddling in other people's business? What does the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect have to do with you? At this moment an expert walked out. He was also a heavenly deity from the Qin clan. Qin Zheng didn't come, but someone from the Qin clan came. Qin Kursin glanced at him and coldly spoke. Who are you? What does it have to do with you? I'm someone from the Qin clan of the Heaven region. Qin Wentian has a grudge with my Qin clan. The matters of the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect naturally have something to do with me. That heavenly deity coldly spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, Qin Kursin's eyes gleamed with a terrifying coldness as a terrifying might gushed forth, enveloping that heavenly deity from the Qin clan. The heavenly deity from the Qin clan frowned when he felt that might. He was prepared to fight at any moment. However, in the next instant, that heavenly might vanished completely, like it had never appeared before. Qin Kursin didn't bother to glance at the heavenly eye of the Qin clan. It was like she didn't care about this heavenly deity at all. Her beautiful eyes landed on the people of the Qin heavenly divine sect as she calmly spoke. All of you, return to your respective positions. Leave this place to me. The people of the Qin heavenly divine sect were all stunned. What situation was this? This beautiful heavenly deity was so powerful that it was terrifying. She actually wanted to protect their Qin heavenly divine sect. In addition, her transcendent confidence could be seen in her words. Each and every one of her cold words contained a domineering aura. Many thanks, Senior. The experts of the Qin heavenly divine sect bowed. One of them spoke, as disciples of the Qin heavenly divine sect, how can we have a reason to retreat? We will stay here and guard together with Senior. If I tell you guys to scram, just scram. Why are you guys talking so much nonsense? Do you guys have the qualifications to interfere in a battle between heavenly deities? Courage. You are already dead, what's the use of courage? Qin Kursin coldly berated, causing the people of the Qin heavenly divine sect to be speechless. They had nothing to say in reply. Indeed, in a battle between heavenly deities, they didn't even have the qualifications to interfere. Although this goddess was berating them, in truth, she was doing this to protect them. Many thanks, Senior. They clasped their hands and retreated into the Qin heavenly divine sect. Qin Kursin was still guarding the area. She stood in the air and stared at the experts here. Whoever wants to invade the Qin heavenly divine sect, you have to defeat me first. The experts here frowned. Earlier, they had already witnessed Qin Kursin's strength. She was very powerful, but as for how strong exactly, they had no idea. But what made them feel even more trepidation was her father, the tomb keeper of the divine mausoleum. If his daughter was so strong, how strong would her father be? If things were really like what she said, her father would soon enter the world. At that time, if he knew that someone was bullying his daughter, what would he do? Also, the news of the divine mausoleum was extremely important to the experts of the supreme ancient immortal realms. This caused them to hesitate for a moment. They had to consider this matter carefully before making a decision. Seeing that the experts from the supreme ancient immortal realms didn't act, many people in the Boundless Sea region stared at the beautiful maiden in the air as they sighed in admiration in their hearts. Using her own strength to obstruct the experts of the supreme ancient immortal realms, there was only one such woman in the supreme ancient immortal realms. Just this battle alone was sufficient for her to shake the entire supreme ancient immortal realms. Chapter 1972. A mysterious woman appeared in the supreme ancient immortal realms. She came from the legendary forbidden ground of the supreme ancient immortal realms, the divine mausoleum. She was the daughter of the tomb keeper. In the airspace above the Boundless Sea region, she blocked all the experts alone, protecting the Qin heavenly divine sect, becoming famous after a single battle. It was rumored that this woman was extremely beautiful, and wasn't in any way inferior to the number one beauty of the heaven region, goddess Nikhang. In fact, she could even stand shoulder to shoulder with the number one beauty of the nine heavens. Not only in terms of beauty but also in terms of strength. This news instantly caused countless people to be curious and headed to the Qin heavenly divine sect in the Boundless Sea region, wanting to see how magnificent this mysterious woman was. At the same time, the rumors regarding the divine mausoleum also gradually circulated around the supreme ancient immortal realms. In the past, the divine mausoleum was a secret. Very few people knew about it, far fewer compared to the number of people who knew about the heaven vault. Because the divine mausoleum would never appear in the supreme ancient immortal realms, it had always been hidden in a forbidden ground. Even for those peak characters, they didn't know the exact location of the divine mausoleum. But now a mysterious woman from the divine mausoleum appeared. Her name shaking the supreme ancient immortal realms naturally attracted the attention of everyone. It was said that the divine mausoleum was the tomb of a divine king. It was rumored that in the ancient times, there was a world-shaking battle where all the deities fell. Their bodies were buried in the ground, transforming into numerous divine mausoleums. There were great deities that survived, isolating the place where they were buried from the world, placing it in an independent space. Naturally, because the era was too long ago, there was no way to verify the rumors. Most probably only people from that era knew about it. Qin Kursen's appearance not only caused countless people in the supreme ancient immortal realms to discuss it. Many people in the Heaven Vault were also guessing about her identity. Could it be that she was acquainted with Qin Wentian? If not, why would she help the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect? They couldn't understand. The news also circulated to the Western Paradise. An ancient monk from the Western Paradise came to the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect and met with Qin Kursen. She was still guarding the airspace above the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect. She sat cross-legged in the air above the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect as a holy light enveloped her, not allowing anyone to take half a step into the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect. This monk pays his respects to female benefactor. The monk in the lead pressed his palms together as he spoke to Qin Kursen. Qin Kursen opened her beautiful eyes and glanced at him. Her expression flickered with coldness as she asked, "What's the matter? I haven't asked for your name yet. Do Buddhist cultivators care about this?" Qin Kursen calmly spoke. "If you have something to say, just say it. I don't like to beat around the bush." "All right." That Buddha cultivator nodded. "This monk comes from the Western Paradise. The Divine Mausoleum has some connections with the Western Paradise. Benefactor, can you tell me the location of the Divine Mausoleum? I heard that you guys want to seize the controlling rights of the Heaven Vault. Right now, you have imprisoned the controller of the Heaven Vault. Now that I'm here from the Divine Mausoleum, you guys are saying that the Divine Mausoleum has a connection with your Western Paradise? Since there's a connection, you guys can just go there yourself. Why are you asking me? I'm really curious, is there any place in this world that has no connection to you guys?" Qin Kursen coldly spoke. Behind her, many people from the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect also stared angrily at these people from the Western Paradise. These bald donkeys from the Western world were so shameless, wanting to interfere in everything. When did the Divine Mausoleum have a connection with the Western Paradise? "Buddhist monks do not lie," said the ancient monk calmly. "When did monks of the Buddhist sect become so greedy?" Qin Kursen mocked. "If you want to know the location of the Divine Mausoleum, I can tell you. Bring Qin Wentian to me. I want to enter the Heaven Vault, and at that time, I will tell you the location of the Divine Mausoleum." The eyes of everyone flashed. This woman wanted to help the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect because she wanted to enter the Heaven Vault? Seemed like this wasn't impossible. The Heaven Vault was a place that all cultivators yearned for even in their dreams. This woman came from the Divine Mausoleum and had a forbidden ground in it. Now she wanted to use the Heaven Vault to grow stronger. It was only normal. We also hope that Benefactor Qin can open the Heaven Vault. However, Benefactor Qin has always been unwilling to agree. Hence, we kept Benefactor Qin as a guest in the Western Paradise. Benefactor, can you change your condition? Let's see if we can fulfill it. The Buddhist cultivator spoke. It wasn't easy for them to suppress Qin Wentian. It was naturally impossible for them to release him. Qin Wentian was an extremely dangerous character. Once they released the tiger back to the mountain, it wouldn't be so easy to suppress him again. This was especially so since he controlled the Heaven Vault. Once he entered the Heaven Vault, things would be even more difficult. As for now, Qin Wentian was suppressed in the Western Paradise. They weren't afraid that Qin Wentian wouldn't hand over the Heaven Vault. Time would change everything. If a day wasn't enough, they would do it for a year. If a year wasn't enough, they would do it for 10 years. Eventually, there would be a day when the sharp edges on Qin Wentian's body would be ground flat. Fine. Move the scripture depository of your Western Paradise over and exchange for the location of the Divine Mausoleum. How about it? Qin Kursen spoke. Benefactor, your request is a little too much. That monk pressed his palms together and lowered his head. Monks are truly honest. They only know that the requests of others are too much, but they don't know if their own request is too much. Qin Kursen mocked. There's one more thing I want to remind the Western Paradise. Treat Qin Wentian, who is a guest in the Western Paradise, well. The monk from the Western Paradise frowned. He stared at Qin Kursen and asked, Benefactor, what do you mean by this? In the Divine Mausoleum, there's someone who has a connection with Qin Wentian. If something happens to Qin Wentian, the Western paradise wouldn't be able to have peace. Qin Kursin coldly spoke. Not only did the monk from the Western paradise frown, even many experts in the supreme ancient immortal realms had strange expressions on their faces. How could this be? The divine mausoleum was a forbidden ground, isolated from the world. Why would the people in the divine mausoleum have a connection with Qin Wentian? What was going on exactly? Right now in the supreme ancient immortal realms, there were simply too many people who had a connection with Qin Wentian. The Tiandao Sacred Academy acted to protect him. The Grim Reaper of ancient Azure Mystic might have a master-disciple relationship with him. And now the divine mausoleum appeared. In that case, this mysterious young woman might not have saved the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect because she wanted to enter the Heaven Vault. Rather, she came here because she knew of Qin Wentian, because, in the divine mausoleum, there was someone who had a connection with Qin Wentian. Who? The monk from the Western Paradise asked. Everyone, there's no need to know who it is. You only need to understand that if Qin Wentian isn't happy in the Western Paradise, I'm afraid there would be trouble for the Western Paradise in the future. Hence, I hope that reverence can consider my words. Qin Kursin's calm voice was filled with hints of arrogance. This seemed to be her unique style. Those monks chanted Buddhic hymns and pressed their palms together. We will remember female benefactor's words. It's just that in the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect, we have to trouble female benefactor to step aside. We still have some matters we need to handle. Clearly, the Western Paradise wasn't so easy to threaten. If the powerful Western Paradise cowered in fear because of a single sentence from Qin Kursin, they wouldn't be the Western Paradise. They didn't even fear the threat of the Grim Reaper, let alone the unknown divine mausoleum. Chapter 1973. Qin Kursin stared at the monks from the Western world as her expression turned cold. She then spoke, since I'm here, if you guys can barge past me, feel free to do so. But if you can't, don't blame me for being impolite. The monks from the Western world stared at Qin Kursin. Before this, Qin Kursin fought here and suppressed the Thunder Clan's heavenly deity. Although they came here, there weren't any Buddha lords among them. All of them were only heavenly deities from the Buddhist path. If they really fought, they actually didn't have the confidence to win. Female benefactor, your cultivation base is high and your talent is unparalleled. We can only join forces to seek guidance from you. We apologize for offending you. The bodies of the heavenly deities split apart. In an instant, Buddhic light illuminated the area, illuminating the air above the boundless sea region. What a shameless bald donkey! The people from the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect cursed. Several heavenly deities from the Buddhist path joined forces to deal with Qin Kursin, yet they still spoke in such a dignified manner. In an instant the waves rolled, and from the bottom of the sea, incomparably huge Buddha statues appeared. Not only at the bottom of the sea but also in the sky. In an instant the great Buddhas buried this world. In the vast space in the land of the boundless sea region, the sound of Buddha lingered, causing the eardrums of the experts in the entire sea region to tremble, as though they had fallen into the sound of Buddha. Qin Kursin was enveloped by the Buddhas in the center. It was like she had no way to escape from this Buddhist world. Numerous Buddhic innate techniques blasted out towards Qin Kursin. Gigantic Buddha palm imprints and powerful ancient Buddhist characters exuded the might of the Tao. Such power was sufficient to destroy ordinary heavenly deities, causing them to lose their combat prowess. However, there was only coldness in Qin Kursin's eyes. The divine mausoleum world enveloped everything, instantly enveloping the Buddhas. After that, numerous blurry figures appeared in the divine mausoleum. These figures actually blasted out different types of heavenly Tao energy, shattering the Buddhic innate techniques. Qin Kursin alone seemed to be able to control the Taos of all deities. She could directly summon the divine mausoleum and borrow the Tao to do battle. The boundless sea region churned and roared. The Buddhas shattered into pieces. Qin Kursin was a supreme goddess standing tall in the air. Those ancient Buddhas chanted Buddhic chants, but their auras grew weaker and weaker. They all retreated and a monk from the Buddhist sect pressed his palms together. Female benefactor's cultivation base is extraordinary. This old monk is impressed. If there's a chance in the future, I will seek guidance from you again. What, are you going to leave now? Qin Kursin coldly laughed. But as the sound of her voice faded, those monks directly transformed into beams of Buddhic light that resembled relics, instantly leaving the divine mausoleum world. This caused Qin Kursin to frown. After that, those monks from the Western Paradise all retreated from the Qin Heavenly Divine sect, showing no signs of fighting. It was like they only wanted to probe Qin Kursin's strength and leave after a single strike. The Western Paradise actually retreated? The eyes of everyone flashed. The experts from the Boundless Sea region felt their hearts trembling. Seems like even the Buddhas from the Western Paradise couldn't do anything to this woman. If not, they wouldn't have retreated so easily. But this was also normal. After all, this woman was someone who dared to challenge the Thunder Clan leader. If a Buddha Lord didn't appear, it would be hard for them to do anything to her. In the supreme ancient immortal realms, there was only one genius who could stand shoulder to shoulder with her. It was none other than a supreme genius from the supreme ancient immortal realms, Qin Wentian. He barged into the Western Paradise alone and killed the Karma Buddha, the Buddha Lord. This was why he was trapped there and suppressed. However, these two supreme geniuses who could be mentioned in the same breath seemed to have an unknown relationship. She told the people of the Western Paradise to treat Qin Wentian well. In the forbidden grounds of the Divine Mausoleum, there was someone who had a connection with Qin Wentian. The situation in the Qin Heavenly Divine sect seemed to have fallen into a stalemate. A mysterious woman from the Divine Mausoleum actually blocked the path of many deities from entering the Qin Heavenly Divine sect. Naturally, this didn't mean that the various hegemonic powers wouldn't be able to deal with this woman, even if they joined forces. It was just that the Qin Heavenly Divine sect wasn't the Heaven Vault. The reason why the various hegemonic powers wanted to take down the Qin Heavenly Divine sect was to threaten Qin Wentian. However, the importance of the Qin Heavenly Divine sect was clearly a far cry from the Heaven Vault. In addition, the identity of this mysterious woman was very mysterious. She came out from the Divine Mausoleum and her father was the Tombkeeper, causing the various hegemonic powers to feel trepidation. This was why this stalemate was created. Also, what gave the experts of the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms a headache was that this mysterious woman seemed to be guarding the Qin Heavenly Divine sect. No one could take half a step inside. However, in the Western Paradise, the various methods the Buddhists and Taoists used to deal with Qin Wentian had never stopped. They didn't listen to Qin Kursin's threat. The experts from the Divine Mausoleum might cause the Western Paradise to feel some trepidation, but it wasn't sufficient to obstruct their ambition to obtain the Heaven Vault. They sacrificed a Buddha Lord to establish this karma. Suppressing Qin Wentian and treating him well? Was this possible? Not only did they not treat him well, there would be experts from the Buddhist path coming over every day to chant Buddha scriptures, causing the gigantic palm imprint suppressing Qin Wentian to unleash immense might, suppressing Qin Wentian. Also, they would use different Tao arts and techniques every day. Some of the Buddhist techniques were extremely terrifying, able to affect the hearts of people controlling Qin Wentian. However, given Qin Wentian's current cultivation realm, even the Karma Buddha's 8 senses were severed by him. It was clearly impossible for them to control him so easily. However, the Western Paradise wasn't in a hurry. They repeated the same thing every day but used different methods. Sometimes there would even be Buddha Lords personally acting, tormenting Qin Wentian's heart day by day. Today, outside the gigantic palm imprint suppressing Qin Wentian, a Buddha Lord appeared. This was an extremely powerful character from the Western Paradise. The Buddhists at the side bowed when they saw him. After that, they all stood there, radiating Buddhic light. After that, the Buddhist Tao energy permeated the gigantic palm imprint, channeling it into Qin Wentian's body. Within the internal space of the gigantic palm imprint, Qin Wentian sat cross-legged. Terrifying Tao light radiated from him, blocking the invasion of the Buddhist Taoists from the external world. Numerous illusions flashed through his mind. It was like he could see the scene of the Heaven Vault being breached. He saw Qingcheng being killed. He saw Qinger being dyed in blood as she fought. She was in an extremely miserable state. He saw his family and friends falling into a world of purgatory, being surrounded and slaughtered. These scenes were extremely realistic. They didn't seem like illusions at all. This caused Qin Wentian to feel like he was about to collapse. His will was about to collapse at any moment as his body trembled. What a powerful Tao art. His will was extremely strong. reminding himself that there would definitely be extremely powerful characters from the Western Paradise acting against him, using their Tao arts to affect him. He had to persist. After a long time, the Tao energy finally vanished. Qin Wentian's entire body was drenched in sweat. A voice rang out from outside, "Benefactor Qin, why must you do this? The Buddhist path is merciful. If Benefactor Qin is willing to cooperate, we naturally won't make things difficult for you, and will grant you your freedom. Right now, many things have happened in the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect. I'm sure Benefactor Qin still has no idea about it." After the other party spoke, he left this place. Qin Wentian inclined his head and stared at the Buddha statues within the gigantic palm imprint. Were these Buddhas or devils? If this continued, how long could he persist? 1 day, 2 days, there was no problem. But what about 1 year, 2 years? Although he definitely wouldn't give up, even in such an environment, he still worked hard in his cultivation. However, the other party would disturb him every day, not giving him any time to cultivate in peace. But no matter what, it was impossible for him to hand over the control of the Heaven Vault. In the Heaven Vault, his family and friends were all in there. Even if he died, he wouldn't allow the Heaven Vault to fall into danger. Time flowed by day, and in the blink of an eye, over a year had already passed. In truth, it has been almost 2 years since Qin Wentian left the Heaven Vault. This also meant that the people in the Heaven Vault obtained another 200 years of cultivation time. Little rascal Mengchen, Qing'er, and the others should have become even more powerful, right? Qin Wentian, who was being suppressed, had this thought in his heart. However, he himself was still enduring the torment of the Western Paradise. Right now, the Heaven Vault was undergoing a heaven-shaking transformation. In addition, many of the changes were things Qin Wentian couldn't even imagine. Let alone Qin Wentian, most probably, even the people of the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms wouldn't be able to imagine some of the changes. Qin Kursin was still guarding the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect in the Boundless Sea region. She was revered by the people of the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect as their protector goddess. The people from the various hegemonic powers of the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms all felt somewhat anxious. Although a year or two was extremely short to them, the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms was about to undergo a transformation. All of them wanted to cultivate in the Heaven Vault as soon as possible, but the Western Paradise had yet to deal with Qin Wentian. This caused them to feel somewhat frustrated. The Western world had many methods in Boundless Das. Yet, they actually had no way to deal with Qin Wentian, who was being suppressed. Time continued to flow. Another day passed. At the place where the Western Paradise suppressed Qin Wentian, many ancient Buddhas appeared. They were extremely quiet, like they were waiting for something. Finally, a golden light flashed as a true Buddha manifested. The figure of a Buddha Lord descended. At this moment, all the Buddhas bowed. Buddha Lord. This Buddha Lord had a fat head and large ears. He radiated a peaceful aura. He nodded his head lightly as his gaze landed on the giant palm imprint that was suppressing Qin Wentian. During these days, have you done everything that should be done? This Buddha Lord didn't speak, but his voice rang out in the minds of the Buddhas. Everyone nodded. After so many days, they should have worn down Qin Wentian to a certain extent. Now it was time for them to reap their harvest. This was especially so since this existence from the Western Paradise personally acted. There wouldn't be any more mishaps. Qin Wentian had to open the Heaven Vault. Good. Have you informed everyone in the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms? The Buddha Lord's voice rang out again. Everyone nodded. Everything has been done. They have indeed done everything. At this moment in the Boundless Sea region, countless experts appeared. The experts from the various hegemonic powers of the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms seemed to have a tacit understanding, and were all gathered outside the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect. This caused Qin Kursin to feel an unusual aura. It seemed like something was about to happen. Chapter 1974. In the Western Paradise, at the place where Qin Wentian was being suppressed, the chubby ancient Buddha stood in a certain location and transmitted his voice. Let's begin. The Buddhas nodded. Their bodies radiated Buddhic light, and after that, all of them gushed into the giant Buddha palm that was suppressing Qin Wentian. In just an instant, Qin Wentian, who was suppressed, only felt Buddhic chants circulating in his ears. Waves of Buddhic energy flowed into his body, affecting his will. Is it starting again? Qin Wentian inclined his head. His countenance was cold. For so many days he suffered such torment every single day. However, he guarded his heart and his will didn't crumble. He definitely wouldn't allow the Western paradise to succeed. Qin Wentian didn't know that this time around, things were different from the past. It's just that what he was experiencing now didn't seem to be any different. The Buddhic energy continued to corrode him, affecting him. The ancient Buddha within the giant Buddha palm was awakened once more. The Buddhic ancient characters contained a myriad of Taoists that flowed into his body. Gradually, the corrosion grew stronger and stronger. Qin Wentian did his best to resist, just like in the past. But as the Buddhic energy continued to corrode him, Qin Wentian didn't discover that in his body, there was a wondrous Buddhist light that seemed to transform into a golden lotus that was currently being nurtured. This golden lotus was initially just a seedling. After that, as the Buddhic energy grew stronger, it grew stronger and stronger. Gradually, it took form within Qin Wentian's body and grew larger and larger. If this golden lotus was corroding Qin Wentian alone, he would have discovered it long ago. But because he suffered too many attacks from the Buddhic energy, this golden lotus wasn't conspicuous at all. In fact, it didn't even pose a threat to him. But as the golden lotus grew, Qin Wentian finally felt gratitude towards it. In his body, his bloodline churned, gushing towards the golden lotus, wanting to destroy it. But when the power of his bloodline came into contact with the golden lotus actually absorbed the power of Qin Wentian's bloodline. After that, the golden lotus radiated a faint blood-colored light, as though it was using Qin Wentian's bloodline as nourishment. At the same time, it grew stronger and stronger. Not only so, the Buddhic energy that gushed into Qin Wentian's body also protected the golden lotus, protecting it. This caused Qin Wentian to feel that something was wrong. This golden lotus that had never appeared before in the past might be a method used to deal with him. Qin Wentian's divine sense enveloped the golden lotus. Through the golden lotus he could see the silhouette of a Buddha. This was a Buddhist cultivator with a fat head and big ears. His appearance was extremely ordinary, but he exuded a solemn aura. His body was enveloped by an incomparably gigantic golden lotus, as though he was the incarnation of the golden lotus. "Bald donkey, is that you?" Qin Wentian's voice seemed to ring out directly in the ears of this Buddhist lord. That Buddhist monk seemed to have entered a meditative state, and didn't reply to Qin Wentian. The golden lotus was still growing. Qin Wentian could feel that this golden lotus seemed to have a life of its own. In fact, he could even sense the same aura from the bald donkey outside. This caused him to feel an intense sense of danger. He had no way to control the growth of the golden lotus. Within Qin Wentian's body, the golden lotus continued to devour everything. Gradually, it was about to break out of his body and grow outside Qin Wentian's body. Golden Buddhic light enveloped Qin Wentian's body as the shadow of the golden lotus appeared. After that, within Qin Wentian's body, the golden lotus continued to grow, giving birth to a second, a third. What method is this? Qin Wentian truly felt a sense of danger. The golden lotus was devouring everything. At the instant the golden lotus light enveloped him, he felt his will wavering. There was a force seizing control over his body. A Buddhist cultivator actually cultivates such an evil method. Qin Wentian roared in anger, his voice was cold. What was the difference between this Tao art and a body-seizing technique? If there was a difference, it would only be that this Tao art was more tyrannical and powerful. Benefactor Qin, since you are unwilling to cooperate, I can only use an extreme method. As the saying goes, if I don't enter hell, who would? I'm willing to borrow Benefactor Qin's body to resolve the grudge of the supreme ancient immortal realms. A voice rang out in Qin Wentian's mind. The golden lotus devoured everything, wanting to devour Qin Wentian's consciousness. At this instant, Qin Wentian's face changed. Occasionally, the face of a Buddha would appear. It was like Qin Wentian was no longer Qin Wentian. Which Buddha Lord of the Western Paradise are you? Qin Wentian asked. Reincarnation Buddha. Qin Wentian's face transformed into that of a Buddha again. Finally he spoke. His voice sounded like he was speaking himself. He was the reincarnation Buddha. The reincarnation Buddha was him, wanting to borrow him to reincarnate. Why is it not considered seizing the body but reincarnation? Qin Wentian's original face appeared. His voice was cold to the extreme. Reincarnation to do good, seizing the body to do evil. How can they be mentioned in the same breath? Qin Wentian continued speaking. This scene seemed like he was talking to himself. It was extremely wondrous. Haha, black and white are reversed. If this is considered good, all evil arts in the world can be considered good. Qin Wentian laughed uproariously. The golden lotus grew more and more resplendent. Qin Wentian's body trembled unceasingly like he was doing his best to struggle, trying to seize control of his body. The reincarnation Buddha's methods were heaven-defying. The energy of the Buddhas were protecting him. In addition to the many days of torture, regardless of his will or his body, Qin Wentian was extremely fatigued. Qin Wentian chose to act now because he wanted to kill Qin Wentian in a single strike. Naturally, they could have acted a little later, but the Western Paradise couldn't wait any longer. Qin Wentian closed his eyes. His powerful will resisted the other party's corrosion. The power of the undying scripture circulated and his powerful soul energy protected him. The Tao of reincarnation was extremely terrifying. The golden lotus could devour everything, including the power of one's bloodline and soul. The golden lotus was like the foundation of one's Tao. After a long time, Qin Wentian was still resisting and struggling. The Buddha Tao energy was suppressing him, unceasingly tormenting him. So it turns out that the reason you control the heaven vault is because you control God King Shi's will. Only your will can decide the opening and closing of the heaven vault. In that case, the only method to seize the heaven vault is to control you. The golden lotus light was extremely dazzling. Qin Wentian spoke again, but this time it wasn't his voice. You won't succeed. Qin Wentian's voice was ice-cold. The sea of bitterness is boundless, repent and the shore is before it's too late. Why must you continue to struggle pointlessly? Another voice rang out. An incomparably powerful will manifested. After that, the shadow of a Buddhist sect appeared as he spoke. Heaven vault, open. As the sound of his voice faded, in the Qin heavenly divine sect in the boundless sea region, at the place where the sea and the sky connected, the sky trembled. After that, a crack opened in the horizon. Below, countless people inclined their heads and stared at the sky. The people from the Qin heavenly divine sect, and the experts from the supreme ancient immortal realms. The heaven vault has opened. Countless people felt their hearts pounding. What did the opening of the heaven vault mean? This meant that Qin Wentian might be controlled by the Western Paradise. Was everything finally going to end? Qin Wentian is finished. Everything has ended. Does the Qin heavenly divine sect still want to resist? The Thunder Clan leader stepped out. In the air, countless bolts of lightning flashed. It was like the end of the world had arrived. The people of the Qin heavenly divine sect inclined their heads. Many of them were in a daze, not willing to believe this. Was their sect leader finished? Had everything ended? Today, the various hegemonic powers of the supreme ancient immortal realms gathered here. So it turned out that they were long prepared for this. They already knew about this beforehand. When they thought of this, many people had looks of sorrow on their faces. Was the legend going to end here? Qin Kursin was also in the Qin heavenly divine sect. At this moment, her silhouette flashed as she appeared in the air. She inclined her head and stared at the sky. During these days, she learned a lot about the major events in the supreme ancient immortal realms. Only a single person could open the heaven vault. Now that the crack in the sky appeared, everyone understood what this meant. How can this be? Her expression was unsightly to behold. Her beautiful eyes flashed with a terrifying coldness. The people of the Buddhist sect from the Western Paradise basically didn't care about her words at all. They completely ignored her. Today the experts of the Qin clan also came, including Qin Zheng. His expression was cold as he stared at the opening of the heaven vault. So what if he was talented? He wouldn't be able to escape his fate. The strength of the Western Paradise was so great that no one in the supreme ancient immortal realms could be their opponent. He knew that the era that belonged to the Western world was about to arrive. But no matter what, it was still better than Qin Wentian rising up. The Western world agreed to allow them to enter the heaven vault to cultivate. Although a hegemonic power would be born from now on, it was still much better compared to Qin Wentian rising up for revenge. Within the heaven vault, the people cultivating there received the news. The heaven vault has opened, but Qin Wentian hasn't returned yet. Their hearts involuntarily trembled as a sense of unease appeared in their hearts. After that, their hearts turned into cold killing intent. Let's go. Numerous figures soared into the air, rushing towards the entrance of the heaven vault. At this moment, the eyes of the experts from the supreme ancient immortal realms were filled with cold killing intent. It's time for the heaven vault to end. Qin Kursen stood in the air. However, it was impossible for her to obstruct the experts from the supreme ancient immortal realms. Right now, what appeared before everyone wasn't the Qin heavenly divine sect, but the heaven vault. How could they stop? But at this moment, the entrance of the heaven vault trembled. It was about to close again. Everyone frowned as they stared at the entrance. In the next instant, they saw a strange phenomenon. The entrance of the heaven vault seemed to be struggling unceasingly. Sometimes it wanted to open, sometimes it wanted to close. It was like there were two different types of energy controlling the heaven vault. What's going on? Many people mused. The people of the Qin heavenly divine sect felt hope reigniting in their hearts when they saw this scene. Their sect leader might not be completely controlled and was still resisting. If not, such a situation wouldn't occur. Is he putting up a desperate struggle? The Thunder Clan leader coldly spoke. After that, the experts increased their speed as they rushed towards the heaven vault. They wanted to enter first and capture all of Qin Wentian's friends and family. At that time it would be useless even if Qin Wentian persisted. He would have no choice but to obediently endure. The situation was already set. There was no way to reverse it. Chapter 1975. This time around, many hegemonic powers from the supreme ancient immortal realms arrived. They flew towards the entrance of the heaven vault as their eyes flashed with fervor. The heaven vault was known as the #1 sacred ground for cultivation by the experts of the supreme ancient immortal realms. If one cultivated in the heaven vault, they would be able to directly ascend to constellations and comprehend the Tao energy at a close distance. What concept was this? To be able to sit there every day and sense the heavenly Tao might, there was no need to mention how beneficial it was to one's comprehension. If the entire supreme ancient immortal realms was like the heaven vault, there wouldn't be so few heavenly deities here. Now they could finally invade the heaven vault. How could the experts of the supreme ancient immortal realms not be excited? The opportunity has finally arrived. The era that belonged to Qin Wentian has just started, but it has already ended. This was fate. Even those peerless geniuses had to submit to fate. They might not necessarily have the chance to rise up and grow to a supreme realm. Qin Kursen stared at the experts flying towards the heaven vault. Her beautiful eyes were as cold as ever, but she also understood that she wouldn't be able to stop everything. Before this, the experts of the supreme ancient immortal realms didn't have the determination to take down the Qin heavenly divine sect, no matter what. But the heaven vault was different. Although Qin Kursen was confident in her own strength, she wasn't arrogant enough to think that she alone would be able to fight against these experts from the supreme ancient immortal realms. Kill our way in. The Thunder Clan leader coldly spoke, giving the order. From today onwards they would be able to cultivate inside. Qin Zheng's expression was cold. He waved his hand and the experts of the Qin clan also charged towards the heaven vault. Right now, the Qin clan of the heaven region was already very low profile, but they couldn't miss out on such an opportunity. Qin Wentian was finished off by the Western Paradise. This was the perfect ending. Next, they could only hope that Qin Dangtian would grow stronger and return as the king. The army started to kill their way in. In the Boundless Sea region, countless people inclined their heads and stared at the entrance of the heaven vault. All of them felt their hearts trembling. The era that belonged to Qin Wentian hasn't started moving on the right track yet. Was it about to end? Once the heaven vault was taken over, a new era would begin in the supreme ancient immortal realms. The people of the Qin heavenly divine sect turned pale as they sighed in their hearts. Was this really going to end? They also realized that even if Qin Wentian was still resisting, once the heaven vault was taken over, everything would end. Finally, there were experts who rushed into the heaven vault. They continued advancing forward, preparing to head towards the ancient pathway leading to the starry space. These characters from the peak powers were all people who came to the heaven vault before. However, they were deceived by Qin Wentian and left the heaven vault. resulting in Qin Wentian monopolizing it. Today all of this should be repaid. Their speed was incomparably fast as they sped towards the ancient pathway in the starry space. However, the interior of the heaven vault seemed to have changed. After walking for a while, they still couldn't find the ancient pathway. Instead, they saw a boundless stretch of starry space. Their silhouettes flashed as they directly flew into the starry space. But when they entered the starry space, they discovered that this stretch of starry space seemed somewhat different. A gigantic astral beast appeared in front of them. This gigantic astral beast was incomparably ferocious, as it stared at the figures who had stepped into the starry sky. This isn't the 9 heavenly layers. The eyes of the experts who took the lead flashed. A heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan spoke, feeling that something was amiss. "This is my world," a voice rang out. After that, a handsome young silhouette appeared in the starry sky. His entire body seemed to be covered in a layer of emperor's armor, exuding an insufferably arrogant aura, as if he was the ruler of this world. "He seems to be Qin Wentian's junior apprentice brother," someone spoke when he saw this handsome young man. His name seems to be Jun Mengchen," another person spoke, recognizing the young man who just appeared. "This gigantic astral beast is Qin Wentian's demonic beast. He once joined forces with Qin Wentian to kill their way into the Ziwei Divine Court and devoured it. This heaven-devouring beast devoured the entire Ziwei Divine Court." The voices continued to ring out, causing those who took the lead to hesitate. When they turned their heads back, they discovered that there seemed to be no one following them. In truth, when they entered this world, the people behind them already discovered that their silhouettes had vanished. If this was the ancient pathway in the past, they would be able to see the figures ahead. But now they couldn't. They knew that this place wasn't the ancient pathway in the past. Outside, many people halted as they frowned. "What is this?" someone asked. "This world is the world of heavenly deities. Who wants to enter and take a look?" Someone gave the order. In an instant, more figures stepped out and entered. When they stepped into the world before them, they didn't see those people who had entered before. They had also arrived in the starry sky, but it was a different starry sky world. The only thing was that there was no one there. "Is this an illusory technique?" a heavenly deity frowned. "No, if it's an illusory heavenly Tao, we would be able to sense it. Everything before us is real." Another person replied. "There's a high possibility that this is a space created by a powerful heavenly deity, isolating the people who entered." They were indeed isolated. This was Jun Mingchen's Tao, the Tao of the world. He has already been a heavenly deity for many years. Ever since Qin Wentian exited the heaven vault, close to 200 years have passed. His Tao has long achieved a breakthrough. Right now, his Tao of the world could create a world within a world. At this moment, Jun Mingchen and Little Rascal stared at those people who took the lead to enter the heaven vault. Their eyes that were like emperors gleamed with a terrifying coldness. Right now, their senior brother's life or death was unknown. These people wanted to take this opportunity to kill their way into the heaven vault. If something happened to their senior brother, these people before them would be the main culprits. "Little Rascal, do you want to do it or should I?" Jun Mingchen spoke to the baleful gigantic astral beast in front of him. "Let me." At this moment, Little Rascal wasn't cute at all. His baleful aura towered up into the sky. His sharp claws gleamed with a light that caused people's hearts to palpitate. His eyes gleamed with a blood-colored light, exuding the coldness of a king, looking down on all living things. The hearts of the experts before them tightened. This gigantic astral beast before them was extremely infamous. He had devoured the Ziwei Divine Court. This naturally caused people to feel trepidation. Boom! The body of the heaven-devouring beast moved. Its gigantic body soared through the starry space. It stepped out and stared down at the people below. A terrifying devouring storm erupted from it. It didn't open its mouth. This storm gushed forth from every part of its body. This was its Tao. Some world overlords instantly felt their bodies being immobilized. After that, they directly flew towards the direction of the terrifying storm. They let out roars of terror, but to their shock, they discovered that at this moment, every part of the heaven-devouring beast's body was like a bottomless black hole, devouring everything. They unleashed all their strength, but they had no way to resist at all. At this moment, world overlords were simply too weak. They couldn't even withstand a single strike. Rumble, the terrifying gigantic astral beast, covered this entire space. That heavenly deity from the Thunder Clan radiated boundless lightning, transforming into a lightning Dao art that blasted towards the body of the gigantic astral beast. In an instant, the astral beast was bathed in boundless divine might. But at the next moment, every part of Little Rascal's body turned dark, devouring the lightning energy bit by bit. In addition, that terrifying destructive lightning Dao art actually had no way to shake his body. Even though his gigantic body was enveloped by lightning, it was still unaffected. This scene was too terrifying. That gigantic astral beast bathed in violet divine lightning could devour and kill everything. Ordinary heavenly deities were no longer a match for it. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.